A very good afternoon and welcome to Provident Financial Oval in the northern suburbs of Joondalup. This afternoon, round 12 of the OPTUS WAFL season continues to roll for season 2021 and arguably the game of the round. West Perth hosting Claremont. West Perth sitting on 5 wins and 4 losses, sees them sitting fourth currently on the table. And Claremont, well, they're looking to avenge last year's loss in the grand final, 8-1. And they are setting the benchmark in the early stages of this season. They currently sit atop of the standings. Their previous meeting, they've already met once throughout 2021, and that was back in round 5, and it was the Tigers quite comfortably, 16-11, 107, defeating the Falcons 8-7, 55. That margin, 52 points. Well, the all-time records, this will be their 275th meeting. West Perth clearly with the edge, 160 wins to 113 and just the one draw. Well, as we have a look out onto Provident Financial Oval, both teams starting to commence their warm-ups. And Claremont, this will be a good and stern test for them to see if they can continue to hold on to that minor premiership spot in season 2021. Matt Chechen's calling all the action for you this afternoon, thanks to Front Row Screens and to Shutter Guard as well, and also to Champion Auto Glass. Rudy Riddick on screen there. He was superb in our broadcast game last week. 3 goals, all of them worthy goal of the week contenders. How will he go this afternoon up against a very stern Tigers defence? Find out on the other side of this break. A quick break here from Provident Financial Oval and round 12, the OPTUS WAFL season. We'll be right back.
ShutterGuard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Welcome back to Provident Financial Oval. Round 12 of the OPTUS WAFL season continues to roll on, and currently West Perth just going through the motions here. Top 5 clash and game of the round this afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens. Matt Chechens is my name, and joining me in commentary this afternoon, Luke Worthington. Very good afternoon to you, Luke.
G'day, Matt. Good to be here. Great to be back in the northern suburbs. It's going to be an unreal game this afternoon, and like you said, arguably the game of the round. Very hot team that were tested well last week against another hot up-and-coming team against the top team in the league. What more could you ask for?
And Claremont, with the benefit of coming off the bye after we had our split rounds, we're back to normal formalities now, but the game style almost mirror images between these two teams, Luke. They're the top 2 ball-winning sides of season 2021. West Perth averaged 366 disposals per game, and Claremont snapping at their heels at 341. So they play a very similar kick mark style game. As we look on screen currently, the milestone man, and congratulations to Jai Bolton, one of the best to play in this competition. Game 100 this afternoon. He's won 4 Simpson medals. That's 3 of those for the WA state team after originally coming out from Werribee, and 1 in the grand final. He's a 2-time Sandover medalist as well back in 2016 and 18. Luke, he averages this season 32 disposals per game and 6 marks per game, but he was held to a season low of just 13 in that win against West Perth back in round 5, so he'll look to bounce back from that.
Yeah, it was a tough game for him that round. That was an absolute firecracker, that game as well. But I think that he might have been struggling with something that game, or playing in a limited minutes role. His last 2 games, he's been on fire. 35 disposals last week. Had 49 against West Coast the week before. Absolutely ridiculous numbers, and he's been great in front of goals too. 7 goals, 2 on the season. So he's finding some serious form. I think that he's going to be giving West Perth nightmares today.
And set to feature prominently this afternoon will be the number 14 of West Perth, Shane Nelson. He's a 4-time West Perth fairest and best player, Luke, and he had a season high 39 disposals in that loss against Claremont back in round 5, and he's in red hot form. His last 2 rounds he had 33 and 32 disposals respectively, and 13 marks across 2 wins, and he's someone that the Tigers are going to have to look to handcuff this afternoon.
Yep, absolutely. He's been solid all season, fits in well into West Perth's game plan. They were playing really, really hard through the middle last game. They went into the areas that Swan Districts were daring not to go to, and he was crucial for that.
And on screen currently, the young gun for the Tigers, 20-year-old Jack Buller. He stands 198 centimetres tall and just under 100 kegs. And he's originally from the Cottesloe Junior Footy Club. He's currently 8th in the competition for goal kicking. He's kicked 20 goals from just 9 games, and he's coming off 4 goals last week against Peel from just 6 kicks. So he's that tall marking target rather in that forward 50. Yeah,
it's his 10th game of Waffle League footy. Like you said, 4 straight last week, not just 4 goals, 20 goals, 11 on the season. So his kicking's been phenomenal, and West Perth are really going to have to contain him today.
So West Perth, the key today has been their defence. They've allowed the second fewest scoring shots in the competition after Subiaco, who are definitely the benchmark when it comes to the defensive side of their game. But Claremont, they move the ball very directly. League best 25 disposals per goal, and they're the most efficient team inside 50. Rob McCaw, our field umpire, alongside Matt Adams and Ryan Shelton. We're about to get underway. Round 12 of the Optus WAFL season starts with a perfect bounce. And West Perth looking to come forward first. The bodies spill, and West Perth get the first clearance through Nelson. Inside 50, only took them all of 10 seconds. So an early test for the Tigers defence. As the ball's shuffled out wide, that was Declan Mountford, who goes along the ground. Gains 15 metres, no deliberate, that will be tossed in. Thanks again to Champion Autoglass and to Front Row Screens, setting the bar for local sports coverage. Motorsport, ice hockey, and obviously the WAFL and WAFL women's competition as well. Yet to see our first score. Starting in the ruck is Eastland. West Perth go forward. Bit of a chaos ball up towards the kick-off line. Ball bounces kindly for Knott. Can he keep the ball alive? He can. But he went to ground. Kick was well smothered around the corner. Ball still in dispute at the moment. Hand pass received by Nelson. Another kick smothered. Picking up the crumbs there for West Perth was Alexandre. He's ridden into the turf holding the ball. So a couple of early tests for the Tigers, Luke Worthington, and they've stood up pretty well.
Defence has held up well so far, so let's see how they do exiting out of here. As England collects it at centre half back, taking a few steps forward. He's being chased down hard, just clears it in time. Strong pair of hands overhead. Out on the wing, it was Bolton who brought that one in. Sorry, it was Packmore who brought that one in. Ball's just going to spill over the boundary. Bit of a shove from Gordon. And
Luke, just in this break, there's a big out. If you just join the coverage, Lachlan Martinez, who's been in great form recently for the Tigers, is a late out, and in comes Anthony Tracy. So the number 16 comes in. Martinez had 42 disposals in the round 5 win against the Falcons, and he'll be sorely missed.
Claremont took a kick out of there. Mark taken down by Alexandre. Pushing it forward, out to the wing. Running onto it. And it spills over the boundary. Antonio was going for it. Heavy pressure by Claremont along the boundary so far. We'll see the rucks go up for it one more time. A lot of pushing and shoving early. Nothing changed from the last game at Revo Fitness Stadium. Tap one down by Claremont. Clean pair of hands, Hardesty. Pushing it forward hard. Running onto it in the corner is Hamilton. Trickles over the line one more time.
It just seems as though the arm wrestle continues between half forward and half back. Only a slight breeze blowing towards the right of your screen. Expecting to get up to around 19 degrees today, and that wind to pick up throughout the afternoon. So a ball in. One down at the front by Eastland, but it's West Perth who gather. They clear their defensive arc up towards Knott. Was he taken without the footy this time? No. Gets run down and a fantastic tackle from Baldwin. That West Perth could be out here. A little hand pass around from Lynch, linking up with a teammate. They tow it forward. That was almost a throw. Kick forward, back inside 50. One-on-one contest at the moment. Antonio won't be able to affect the contest, and that's a poor kick around the corner to Tyler Keitel, the leading goal kicker so far. He scrubs a kick back inside 50. Well done, Mitchell. Fed it off by hand now. Mountford relieves a little bit of pressure. Bolton, game 100, receives the hand pass. Long spearing ball. That's brilliantly weighted onto the chest of Manuel, who kicks up again towards the goal square. Second bite of the cherry. England can kick under heavy duress. Which way will it bounce? Takes a little leg break and goes through. Bullen unable to gather the crumbs. Our first score of the afternoon on the Champion Autoglass scoreboard. 4 minutes have ticked over, and it's the Tigers by a solitary point.
It collapsed slightly in front of goal there, but what a solid play it was through the middle, starting
well, how good was
with
Bolton's
the kick with
coming
Bolton
out, yeah.
through the corridor. Really gutsy effort there to do that. Kick goes inside to right half forward for Claremont, went over the line.
I just feel at the moment, Luke, from both teams, their distribution or their clean sort of kicking skills inside 50 is not really coming to the fore at the moment. So it's something that both teams would look to clean up, and whoever can capitalise on that will probably win the game.
Ball going to ground right near the boundary again. Umpire's called something, and Claremont will have a shot on goal. Looks like someone was possibly held.
Yeah, it was. Bailey Rogers was held, so the umpire was right there. Good decision. And a chance for the first set shot of the afternoon. Bailey Rogers has kicked 6-3 on the season.
Had a great season so far. 28 disposals on average too. Solid kicking on goal. Slide angle here about 25 or so out. Taking a decent run up is Rogers. And Claremont, oh, not quite. He hits the post on that one. Looked really good off the boot, and then just couldn't quite cut in at the end. We had a great angle from it here in the commentary box. But 0 goals 2. They lead West Perth, sitting on zip as a strong pair of hands overhead, taken in by Alexandre. Didn't get all of the kick. Bolton went to ground and took it, pushed it out of there. Ball goes into a pack. Crummer's trying to get it. Moved out of there by Lim to Rogers, who boots it inside 50 into a one-on-one contest. Moulton was trying to gun down Manuel, and he scores. Claremont's first major of the afternoon comes off the boot of Alexander Manuel. And that is for his 23rd goal of the season.
It was a good spoil. Have a look at the CD Dodd replay. If you have a look at there, bringing the ball to ground was Hamilton, but unfortunately, straight to the leading goal kicker so far for the Tigers, and an opportunistic effort. He's featured a bit so far to the right of screen, linking up with Bolton before. So 3 scoring shots to zip. We did mention that West Perth restrict their opponents to the second fewest scoring shots, and they've already seen 3 registered in the early parts of this first term. So Alexander Manuel kicks his 23rd goal on the season. Seven minutes have ticked over as umpire Shelton will recall that one. We'll have a reset from the middle. Thanks again to Champion Autoglass. Also CD Dodd Scrap Metal Recyclers. One down by Delaporte. West Perth looking to respond. This is Eastland. Swings it out wide with a hand pass. This is where their kicking is left a lot to be desired, and right on cue it happens again. Wide ball on the stretch is Black. That's a fantastic mark, running at full tilt. Healthy crowd here at Provident Financial Oval. Plenty of bouncy castles out on the outer side.
Also,
game days has definitely changed in the waffle, hasn't it? We saw a paintballing.
Yeah.
Not paintballing, rather. That'd be a bit dangerous. The laser tag, yeah, out at Bassendean Oval last week.
I love seeing every junior footy club in the area set up with a tent over the other side behind the goals as well. Brilliant. All my rivals from when I was a kid.
It's pretty tough getting a car park too. I think I had to park in Sorrento to get here as the ball gets speared inside 50. Oh, that's through the hands of the Tigers defender. Forward in Buller, I should say. And well disguised, they usher it through for another minor score. 1-3 now the Tigers. West Perth yet to score. They have had 3 inside 50s. Approaching the 9-minute mark of this first term. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington bringing all the action. Thanks again to front row screens. So Gordon brings the ball in. That's a beautiful kick. Black takes his second mark of the afternoon. Looking to just peel off the 15-metre stab. He'll receive it back. Racking up the possessions as he normally does, and that's a shocking kick. Chopped off. They can wheel around. Lim plays the 1-2 now with Pat Moore. Pat Moore goes into the pocket and it just pitches inside the paint.
I thought that was out from here, but he had a better view.
We're only about 200 metres away from here, Luke. So the Falcons will need to man up inside defensive 50. Not just one set of players forward of the Bullseyes at this stage. Nice high toss in from the umpire. Eastland starting to dominate the hit-outs now. Can West Perth get out of trouble? This is Riddick. He's a long way from the goals. Goes by left boot. Eastland, 2 bites. Taking to ground. The umpire allows them to play on. The bodies come piling in. Somehow, the Tigers extract the football. That's gone up the chimney flute. And not travelled the 15 metres. So dumped in a strong tackle there was Hobley, who sat under the football a long time, much like a fullback in rugby league. Probably hear the footsteps coming, but he wore it. And they've got a stoppage as Lim hands the ball back to the umpire. He's been a pretty consistent performer over the years, Ryan Lim. Eastland flew high, didn't get a decisive palm on the footy. And the Falcons hunting in packs. Another stoppage. Almost 10.5 played, opening term. And the champion Autoglass scoreboard has the Tigers out by 9.
Ball up right by the boundary. Was palmed down by Eastland. Claremont almost moving it inside 50. Few players surrounding the footy. Umpire didn't like that. And it will be a free kick for West Perth.
The umpiring's been sensational this year, and even better from their coaches too, I believe.
So that one goes, just trickles over out of bounds.
Two teams you don't really see butcher the footy, and it's been prominent in this game.
So here we go again. Throw in inside the Claremont 50. What can they do here? Lots of bodies around the ball down the bottom. Shannon.
Yeah, that was clever from Shannon because he was right under the hammer.
But then they couldn't get all of that kick. So pushing it forward now. They're back inside 50, Claremont. Smallwood got hands on it. Passing it around now. Snap around the body is just going to fall into the forward pocket. And coming down with the footy was Gordonen. And they switch it across where Lloyd manages to push it out into the back pocket. Taken in by Shannon again. West Perth moving it nicely up the wings now in a strong pair of hands. Now let's see what they can do. Cutting through the middle here. Over the top, nearly taken in by Keegan Knott, who's going to boot it inside 50. Who's got the speed here? Claremont looked to have more numbers, but he's socketed it through for a goal. It was Tyler Keitel.
30th goal too. He must have been watching the Euros. That was a volley first of all, half volley from Keegan Knott. Well, their kicking obviously from hand to boot has been nothing short of appalling in the early stages of this game. Have a look, thanks to CD Dodd. Vacant goal square, just uses the side of the boot. against the run of play, and you can see what happens when West Perth look to take the game on through the middle. It was a quick turnover and off they went. And it ends in the leader so far in the Bertie Naylor medal for 2021. He won it back in 2018, I believe. So just cuts that margin now back to 3 points. Tyler Keitel, and he's hit 30 goals on the season. Perfect bounce. Eastland. Bolton overran the football. Allows a chance for the Falcons to come forward. Bit of an end-on-end job. Just inside 50. Not had to go down. Tigers stand up out of defence. This is Lim. Nice looking drop punt down the wing and out of play. There was a hold. Good decision again from the umpire. It was definitely there. Buller out of frustration. So West Perth look to spread. Playing the horseshoe. Back to true centre half back. Chiseling little ball now to Connell Lynch. He was fantastic last week against Swan Districts. That ball's going to pitch in front of Murray's feet. He gets corralled on the outer side. Little hand pass in board. Lloyd missed the target with his hand pass, but they've got their composure back. That ball's got a lot of flight, but somehow it's grabbed out of the air. So a tumbling ball. No one at home at right half forward. Mountford. They recede ground. Back inside defensive 50. Eastland. He's covered a lot of turf. The big ruck. Shows some of the smaller players how to deliver. Out towards the outer side. And a bevy of bodies around the footy. The umpire will come in to extract that. One straight plays 1-3. The opening goal kicked by Manuel, and the response from Tyler Keitel. Breeze slightly favouring to the right of your screen. Key ball to win. Bolton gets the clearance. Out towards Manuel. Fell to the ground. Couldn't take the mark. West Perth can load up. Towards Keegan Knott. Mountford, he's been pretty impressive in the early stages, but Knott kept his feet. Links up by a hand now. West Perth could be back in. And they managed to just miss. Brilliant build-up play. That was Nathan Murray. 2 goals, 2 on the season. Moves that to 2-3. That check side or banana, depending on which part of Australia you're from. That looked good off the boot.
So here we go. Claremont. And a big turnover. A crucial turnover. At centre half forward. West Perth. Thomas Boyce is going to have a shot on goal. You don't like to see that for Claremont. He'd want to have that one back. Boyce taking his time now.
So Nathan Murray up to 7 disposals, along with Jai Bolton, the top ball winners on the ground.
And the spearing kick just took a bounce before it hit Nelson. Pushing it right back. West Perth in a bit of trouble here. What can they do now? Moving it across where it's taken in by Gordonen. Gordonen switching it to Munns. Munns kicks it inside 50 into a big pack. Hits the ground off.
Yeah, Eastland was taken high.
Yeah, Eastland.
It's almost like digging yourself into a hole, isn't it, West Perth? They just kept receding ground. They weren't getting anywhere.
So Claremont, take 2, are going to try and move it out from the back line. Bolton had to dive for it.
This will be possession number 8 for him.
Banging it through the middle again. Just went over the top of the contest. Running onto its Nelson. Nelson managed to find Munns. Back to Nelson, and he's taken it hard by Tracy.
That was almost a rugby league style tackle where they met head on, driving them back onto their back rather than spinning them 360 in the tackle. That was superb.
Got to risk it to move the footy through the corridor. Going up for it. Ball goes to ground. Collected. West Perth. Bombing it out of there's Nelson. Right on the paint of the centre square, where it's taken in by Hardesty. Moved out to the far wing. And just spills before it goes into the hands of Manuel. West Perth with a jump now. Here comes Nelson. Kicking it up the wing. Ball near the boundary. Taken in well by West Perth. They've got space here and they've got men overlapping into the forward line. He tried to kick it around the body for Riddick, but it was taken in by Hamp. Hamp got it forward. Now Claremont with the footy. Under a lot of pressure. Carter trying to move it. He got wrapped up in a tackle. Eastland with a handball. And now bolting through the pack is Hardesty. Claremont banging it inside 50 now. Moulton, good coverage there. Ran back with the flight of the footy and took it in. Turning into a ping pong match. This one. Both teams just struggling to convert properly inside 50.
So we've just got a blood rule. Jared Hardesty is making his way off the ground. Also stepping on is Nathan Murray, who's come back. He's winning the most possessions so far for West Perth. So they look so good coming through the middle of the ground, and in fact a West Perth player coming off the ground too with the blood rule. So maybe it was just Claremont. Hardesty maybe not was bleeding, he was just coming off for a normal interchange. And the West Perth player has just stepped through the interchange gates. That's Mitchell Pearce from Whitford's Junior Footy Club. Whitford, I should say. Pretty sure they're called the Hawks. So we're back with the action now. That's an interesting looking ball, and that was a high shot right under the nose of the umpire. So they get a little bit of a reprieve to West Perth. They have been fast starters throughout the season, won 7 of 9 first terms, whereas Claremont have been notoriously slow starters, just 4 first quarters of 1 for them throughout the 2021 season. 19.25 minutes travelled. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens as the high ball goes out to the outer side. And the players running out of tarmac, and we'll have a boundary throw in. Thomas Boyes on screen. Just his 8th game of league footy. So Delaporte wins one over the top, and that was clever. West Perth look to take the game on through the corridor. They kick up towards Keitel. Perfectly weighted kick for him. Now he's begging for the mark to be put back, and it's going to be correctly set. So he'll put the leather to boot around. You'll have to kick this from all of 55 metres, you would presume, but if anyone can do it, it's the former Bernie medalist as the players begin to flood back to the left of screen. So to double his total for the afternoon. He had a clever soccer about 10 minutes ago. Wheels around, kicks from 52. It'll have the journey. Does it have the accuracy? You bet it does. And the double cobra to celebrate, Luke Worthington. That was a superb kick using the new rule.
To perfection.
Got close to the player on the mark, wheeled around and then punched it through. Let's have a look. Thanks to CD Dot. Manages just with a little bit of an arc. The umpire correctly calls play on, and he smashed it home
that
from all of 52 metres.
50, 54, 55 metres. Absolute bomb. Used the rule to perfection. And they're going to take the lead. 2-1-13 plays 1-3-9 on the Shuttleguard scoreboard. West Perth leading at home.
So back in the middle, Delaporte and Eastland haven't put up massive numbers as far as hit-outs going, but these two clubs are perfect examples as to why the hit-out is probably the most overrated rule in world sport, as one of the teams is sort of failing their mental maths at the moment. The umpires are on top of it. Lofted up, won by Eastland. West Perth come forward again, this time through Black. Bit of a tumbling ball. Numbers favour the Tigers. Little chip over the top. Well done going back with the flight of the ball and affecting the spoil. That allows Antonio to take the mark. That was clever work from Shane Nelson. They stab it inside 50. Keitel almost had to play a defensive role then, spoiling the pass inside, but it only went as far as Mitchell. Could be coming back with interest. This is Lloyd. Dinks one over the top to Shannon. Looks to put it up into the lead inside 50. Better ball use now, and busting out on the lead is Thomas O'Donnell. He's been pretty accurate throughout the season, kicking 5 goals, 1. This will take a good effort from a 45-degree angle.
19 disposals last week for Lynch, averaging 26. Been a great season so far for the 20-year-old, the Whitford's Junior Footy Club.
So kick on goal looks pretty good. Thomas O'Donnell gets his 6th of the season. Showing why he's pretty accurate. 5-1 on the year. Plenty of Whitford's Junior Footy Club members out there too. Interesting to read during the week, West Perth, not one player formally listed in the AFL, so they are producing a lot of fantastic local talent. A couple of Sandover medals, if you can hear the clink of medals just running off through the interchange gates. That's Kane Mitchell and Jai Bolton. As Lim comes back on, and Jared Hardesty as well, who we thought came off with the blood rule, but was in fact Mitchell Pearce. So back into the middle. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. 3-1-19 to Claremont's 1-3-9. 10 minutes as we approach time added on in this first term.
Ball goes to ground. Crummer's going for it. Handballed out of the pack. Being pinballed around, and tackled hard was Nelson, but West Perth looked like they didn't get all of that kick, and it just hit the deck before being taken in. Ball being spilled around a bit. Claremont going to get the clearance. They take it in through Barton. He bombs it inside 50, and running back with it was Van Rooyen. And Jacob Van Rooyen, only 18 years old, from the Wembley Downs Junior Footy Club.
The Flying Dutchman.
In his 4th game of WAFL League footy. A set shot right in front after Claremont cut through the middle nicely. And you can see when we cut to the hill is filling out quite significantly. Can he bomb it right into the middle of it?
He does.
Splits it nicely.
And the biggest king of the pack contest right behind the goals has just resulted in about a 70-80 kid scrummage for the footy, and they finally got it back. It's great to see the kids down at local footy, and tall man, but didn't need to really punch it through that hard, just managed to steer it home, and immediate response for the Tigers. So this game living up to its billing, game of the round. Let's have a quick look at the numbers, Luke, as we approach quarter time. Jai Bolton up to 9 disposals, leading all ball winners on the ground, and Shane Nelson. So the two men that we identified pre-game, finding the leather the most so far, almost through the first term. Connell Lynch has laid 3 tackles, so he's been effective in the game despite not having much of the footy. Delaporte won it down with the left hand, bit of a diving hand pass off the back. Can they reset here? Hobley kicks from the back edge of that bullseye out to the lead of Murray, taken without the football. It was Lim that maybe in with the infraction there. So can West Perth get one? Kick comes in towards Keitel. 2 bites and chopping of the arm. So we've seen a couple to the left of screen throughout the afternoon, and the ball will come back to the goal sneak. This will take his best effort because he'll be kicking into a slight breeze. And using his natural arc's probably not going to help him here. So he's kicked 2 straight this afternoon. He's kicked 31 for the season. This to wrestle and put them further in front. Oh, has he done it? That is ridiculous.
Beautiful.
Well, 2 goal of the week contenders already. That is the pick of the bunch. Tyler Keitel has come to play this afternoon. He's kicked 3 straight. None better than this. The CD Dodd replay. Let's have a look at this. Outside 50. Slight breeze in his face. He celebrated with a double fist pump. He's done it again, and he's up and about. That restores a bit of a buffer for West Perth, who are very fast starters throughout the season. Claremont are going to have to change that match-up then soon, you would suggest.
You'd think so. First goal, bit of a lucky bounce, but he made the best of it. The last 2 You'd be hoping to stop that after the quarter-time adjustments.
So Claremont dominating out of the middle, 12-4 hit-outs, courtesy of that man, Eastland. Can they extract the footy? Not this time. Bolton with the tackle. A couple of players rolled in the tackle and the umpire calls to the end of the stalemate there, and chance for another ball up. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. We've just ticked over 28 minutes. 10 points the margin. Delaport with a rare win in the ruck. So West Perth, what can they set up? Late stages. They bring it back almost to the shins there of the sprawling Moulton, who transfers play across the ground now. Gordon, and been pretty impressed with him. That kick lands short, but it's still effective. Antonio's had a couple of marks on the lead in this first term. That's a beautiful kick. Tristan Hobley on the lead. 2 kicks from home. Looks to set it up about 30 metres out. Big fly, Keitel! An unrealistic attempt, and the umpire says play on. Plays advantage. England. He's got an option on this near boundary line. Instead, looks to go back in towards the middle of the ground. Keitel sliding in on hands and knees, dispossessed this time. Somehow they strip it. Mitchell's kick was initially smothered. Gets his right toe into the ball. They look to gain another 20 metres by Soccer. It won't enter inside 50. Mark taken now from West Perth. This is Lloyd through the middle of the ground, asking a lot of his teammate there on hands and knees was O'Donnell. They can tumble one in, but no one at home for the Cardis. And that ball, a relieving one for the Tigers. Van Rooyen takes the mark and the Tigers are away.
Van Rooyen stabbed that one through and wrapped up hard in a tackle.
That's Matthew Lloyd.
It's Lloyd. Solid play there from him. Big men go up for it again. One down by Eastland. Bolton couldn't clear it out of there. Hardesty tried as well. Kick gets pushed out to the wing where it's taken in by Rogers. Rogers uses the man on the mark real well. Faked him out.
I think Alexandre caught him with a boot there as well.
Ooh.
Lucky he didn't go to ground.
Black hands it over, and that's going to do it for the first quarter. West Perth 4 goals, 125. They lead Claremont 2-3-15 on the Shutter Guard scoreboard. Matt Chechens.
Impressive work late in that term for West Perth, extending their lead out to 10 points, but it has been the Tyler Keitel show through the first term. He's kicked 3 goals straight, won a clever soccer off the ground, which I'm sure we'll get to see during our CD Dot highlights on the other end of this break. But when we return, it will be the second term. We'll run you through some of the numbers as well. Round 12 of the Optus WAFL season. We'll be right back after these messages.
Shutterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shutterguard.com.au.
Live pictures, and that man has been a star throughout the first term. Tyler Keitel, a clever soccer for his first goal of the afternoon, and then 2 superb set shots. One from 52 metres, bang in front. The other one hemmed in on the boundary line and making no mistake, and has given his side a 10-point lead to quarter time. Matt Chetchins and Luke Worthington calling all the action so far. It's been a day of milestones. First of all, Jai Bolton in game 100, Luke, has 10 disposals through the first term. And we need to congratulate field umpire Rob McCaw for his 200th game. That's a tremendous performance.
Congratulations to both of them. Umpiring's been solid today, and so's Jai Bolton. 10 disposals, couple of marks, couple of tackles, and a couple of inside 50s.
Well, Claremont have dominated the hit-outs, but they haven't as far as the inside 50s. So they're leading that category 14-5, but West Perth have had 3 more entries inside their forward 50. That count stands at 14-11. It's been on the back of Aaron Black's 10 disposals, and also Murray, who's been lively up across half forward. He has 10 disposals.
Yeah, West Perth, a lot of major ball winners. Aaron Black and Murray with 10, like you mentioned. Gordon and Shane Nelson with 9. Hobley with 8. And on the other side, Jai Bolton with 7. Jai Bolton with 10. Ryan Lim next with 7. Total disposal count, West Perth 117 to Claremont 76. So they're holding on to the footy a lot. They're getting the footy a lot. And if we take a look at the tackle count, they are just slightly under.
And some of the highlights, thanks to CD Dodd, wonderful supporters of WAFL football. And that was a bit of a feature, unfortunately. It was a scrappy beginning to the game. As you can see, a lot of balls bouncing at the feet and the shins of the key forwards. I'd hate to see the kicking efficiency numbers, but there's Jai Bolton, as we said, in game number 100. 4-time Simpson medalist and 2-time Sandover medalist. And West Perth, they look to take the game on in the latter stages of that first term, Luke, with a lot of handballing through the middle of the ground and quick forward 50 entries.
They've been good at that so far today, and I think both teams have been rewarded consistently for going through the middle.
That man on screen in Gordon, I thought his poise and composure in the back half has been pretty good thus far. And 5 scoring shots apiece just goes to show you. And we said pre-game, whichever team can clean up their ball use, they're both pretty potent in front of the goals. And they've got stacked forward lines. But West Perth's back half, as we said, they've really stood up throughout the year. This is Keegan Knott, clever little hand pass. And if we thought that banana was going to sneak through there from Nathan Murray, who's had 10 disposals.
Talking about standing up today, West Perth, the mark count 26-13. In favour of West Perth for marks taken in this game. So solid all around the park, particularly in the forward line.
Shortly we'll go around the grounds and bring you some quarter time scores in round 12, the Optus WAFL season. And a healthy crowd here at Provident Financial Oval. Parking was at a premium with all the basketball, netball and all the various sports. It's a wonderful facility up here, and the crowd has come to see a pretty good game between 2 of the top 5 teams throughout the season. This is a good test for Claremont at the moment. I know they've only had the 1 loss, but to come up here is not easy.
Not at all.
And they've made a fast start. They've now won 8 out of 10 opening terms so far, but it's Claremont. They would want to have the lead West Perth at 3/4 time, because Claremont are undefeated. They're 7-0 when they lead at 3/4 time. So they are a very polished 4th quarter term, so they want to have points in the bank, literally. As we take you around the grounds in the Optus round 12 action, and Swan Districts in the latter stages, not quite quarter time at Leederville Oval, but Swan Districts looking to bounce back after a disappointing performance, it must be said, against West Perth in our coverage last week, taking on Subiaco, who will really be smarting after that surprise loss to the West Coast Eagles reserves. That margin is just 9 points there at Leederville in favour of the Black Ducks. And Peel Thunder, I actually tipped East Perth in this game. They are leading East Perth by 20 points, and the second term has just got underway there at David Gray's Arena. South Fremantle giving Perth a bit of a lesson at the moment, 6 straight to 2 straight at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. And almost quarter time at New Choice Homes Park, East Fremantle and West Coast locked in at 2 goals, 3 apiece as we approach quarter time. Just a shout out to John O'Marsh, who unfortunately had his jaw broken in an incident on Saturday night. I actually caught the last quarter on my way home from our broadcast game last week, and he kicked 5 goals and was influential. So he's going to miss maybe 3 to 5 weeks with a broken jaw. I know he went under the knife recently, so we wish him a speedy recovery, but could that be the end of East Fremantle's season?
We hope not, and wishing him a speedy recovery as we take you down to the centre bounce.
Perfect bounce again in the middle, one down by Eastland. That's his 15th hit out for the game. Mitchell, dispossessed. Well done, Black. Laid a good secondary tackle. This is Bolton, possession number 11. Where's the same number as well? That's a bit of a chaos ball. Squirts out through the back. West Perth defenders looking to spread. Bit of an awkward spinning ball. Couldn't be gathered. This is England. One way then the other. Assesses his options. Vacant square for now. How will it bounce? Well, it must have got a fingernail. It was a clever snap in the end around the corner, and West Perth breathed a sigh of relief as somebody got a finger on that one, and it's only through for a minor score. McKellen, England, he's kicked 14 goals, 6 on the season. So they look to bring it in. Long clearing ball. Buller went up with one arm, couldn't take the mark. Jason Carter's in on the scene as well. He just ran past the hand pass in the end. Well done, Rudy Riddick. Now, is that prior opportunity? We wait. The umpire says no. So Rudy Riddick, he had ample time to get rid of it. The umpire on the other side of that contest. The ball comes down. Bolton. Another possession for him, but not effective this time. Spun 720 and a good tackle was Alexandre, and no prior. Another ball up. So the Tigers, tough tackling to start this term. Only 10 points, the margin. They've had one more scoring shot. Bolton sends up the flare. Eastland with a swinging arm. Back at ground level. Interesting tackle again. And a bit of the rugby maul. And we've got another stoppage. 2 minutes have ticked over. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Thanks again to Front Row Screens and to Shutterguard. CD Dodge Scrap Metal Recyclers. Matt Chetchins and Luke Worthington. It's great to have your company this afternoon, round 12.
Straight back in. Big pack of players went to ground, and umpires called that Aaron Black, no, it was Thomas Boys was held as the ball gets speared through the middle. Didn't travel the required distance. Murray took it in, but now West Perth kicking it to right half forward. Good pair of hands by Alexandre as he kicks it into the middle. Keitel trying to get rid of it. Barton took it in for Claremont. They're going to try and work it out of danger as they clear it to the wing in a one-on-one contest. Went off some hands and over the safety of the boundary. A solid tackle there. It was Alexandre that got wrapped up. And now moving it forward, Claremont again. Right to the top of the paint of 50, and he couldn't quite bring it down. West Perth moving it around nicely. Ball's taken in by Munns. He found Delaporte. Delaporte couldn't get it out of trouble. Claremont looked good here. Here's Patmore kicking it to the forward pocket. Now, and the kick from Manuel couldn't find the target.
Yeah, he tried to be a little bit too cute in that passage of play, did Manuel.
West Perth.
Oh, it didn't travel the required.
Oh, Pearce couldn't get it. Moulton has to get it out of trouble now. Right by the boundary. They handball it back over the top.
It's going to turn out all right.
And it did. And a clever play almost there from Matthew Lloyd. Sorry, it was Boyce. And now booting it inside 50 is Rogers. Another turnover in the defensive 50 by Munns.
Team Munns has had a bit to deal with in this term.
Kicked through where it's taken in nicely by Black. Boyce took it closer to the boundary. Chipped over the top, didn't travel the distance for Shannon. Shannon running with Black, finds him cleverly. Black pushing it inside 50, spills over the back of the contest, now pushing it towards goals Antonio, but it just trickled to the right.
Yeah, if you have a look at what Keitel did there, he just kind of used his body to allow a bit of a safe passage there for Antonio. Unfortunately, going along the terra firma, couldn't get the goal. So here come Claremont. Riddick back with the flight, one arm. Gathers, left foot, stabbing ball right to the paint at 50 and marking in front of Lim. is Mitchell Pearce, who did come off earlier, and that's 50. Our first infringement as far as a 50-metre penalty is going to cost the Tigers a goal. And Mitchell Pearce, wrapped up like the Elephant Man, he's going to go right to the teeth of goals and surely punch this through for 4 straight on his season. Didn't quite see which player was the one that infringed, but it's going to be given the ultimate penalty as he thuds it into the advertising hoardings here at Provident Financial Oval. Biggest lead of the afternoon for either team now on the Champion Auto Glass scoreboard, out to 16 points. In fact, they've doubled the score of Claremont, so a little bit of ill discipline, and they've been punished. Good to see him back on the ground, obviously taped up after coming off with a blood rule. 4 straight he's kicked on the season, doesn't get any easier than that. So Rudy Riddick just starting to work his way into the game. He can be such a live wire across half forward. So West Perth really asking questions of the Tigers. How will they respond? 7 scoring shots to 6, but 16 points the margin. Hardesty on the ball. That will be recalled, as is Jai Bolton. West Perth will put Alexandre out to this near side wing with Kane Mitchell, the number 1. Bouncing basketball almost into the arms of Hardesty. Can they respond immediately? Good spoil from behind, down at ground level. Rogers there to lend assist, but well done again from Moulton. Kick it out further wide, and West Perth will be happy to see the comfort of the boundary line, right where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary line. Chance for them to reset. Ball back in play. Delaporte has to do his work from behind. Claremont with numbers. Pushed as he kicked was Ben Edwards. And another stoppage. Rudy Riddick will head back towards half forward. Ryan Lim had a pretty good first term. And see Hardesty on screen there. He's going to need to step up in the engine room in this term. Whistle. And free kick going the way of the ruckman from the Tigers in Eastland. Had Bolton screaming past to his left, ignored him. Instead sends him inside 50. Callan England with a bit of free airspace. When you got a 4-time Simpson medalist and 2-time Sandover medal calling for the ball, he passed the ruckman, he thought, no, I'll just lace out. To Callan England, will get a good sight at the big sticks here. 35th game in the WAFL. Similar position to where we saw Tyler Keitel split the middle in the first term for West Perth. Kicks from all at 50. No problems with distance. Just a little with the accuracy. It was skinny, missed to the near side. But better signs now for the Tigers when they go route 1. As we await Tyson Moulton to bring the ball back in with the kick-in duties. The bright blue wheels goes by left boot. And that's going to be chopped off. Bolton, 2 kicks from home. Spears one back inside 50. Is the mark paid? No. That was manual. It did hit the turf. They can clear now on the outer side. Is that going to be paid? Yes, it is. So a couple of slips catches. Great smother on the outer side. It stops the counter-attack now for West Perth, but they have a chance to reload. Interesting ball over the top. Tracking back is Edwards. Links up with a teammate with a hand pass, who kicks errantly down the wing. Here's Pearce. Can load up. Looking for Keegan Knott, who flew. Ball lands in the hands of Keitel. Taken to ground in a good tackle. The Tigers will look to get a bit of relief. Riddick, strong tackle. Ball still hasn't been extracted from the pack. Somehow it is now. Little hand pass was chopped down. Tigers running out of room. Well done, Knott. Applied the forward 50 pressure. They're under intense pressure at the moment, are the Tigers. Ball in the hands now of Antonio. Fires off the little hand pass. Flying shot for goal. Just misses. That was off the boot of Shane Nelson, so the Tigers dodge one.
Now, moving out from fullback, Claremont. Good view of the hill there on screen. Into a contest, one over the top of it. Looks like it's going to spill out to the boundary. No, good job there from Buller to keep it in. Nearly collecting it off the deck, West Perth.
The intensity's just stepped up in the last 5 minutes, hasn't it?
Yeah, footy keeps pinballing around. And umpire called it out. Maybe it was just held, hovering over the boundary of the footy.
Aaron Black, 15 disposals, tied with Jai Bolton, who's found it 15 times also. So 5 disposals in this term for Bolton.
Back underway. Going up for it, Eastland. Taps one down. Almost taken in by Carter, and he was pushed. Or taken high, my apologies. So Carter taken high. And Claremont with a free kick from left half back. Bombing it down the wing, right underneath our broadcast position. What a strong pair of hands as it's taken in by Mark Hamilton for West Perth. Hamilton with 15 disposals last week. Currently on his 5th after the kick there. West Perth backtracking slightly as they get more numbers closer to the footy. Choosing to kick it out to the wing. It was a dangerous ball. Missed Munns. Munns got the hands away. Handing it off again, and it was taken in by Boyce. And he was taken well over the line by Mount for a strong tackle.
Just seems as though the intensity, particularly in the tackling and off the ball, has gone up at least 2 notches.
Big men going up for it. And someone was held off the footy. Pearce got thrown to ground. So Pearce with a free kick, came off with the blood rule earlier. Back with the taped head.
Oof. Liam, lucky.
Is that 50? No, not quite. Alexandre had to stab it along. Ball bounced right before it hit the target. They get themselves out of trouble. Shane Nelson on the wing. 32 disposals last week, the 4-time best and fairest Nelson.
Oh, that's
West
a hospital
Perth
hand
moving
pass.
it nicely through the corridor. It ended up working out in the end. Pearce kicks it through the middle. Running onto the footy now, West Perth. What can they do here? Claremont with a few numbers. Ball moves out to Hobley. Kicked back inside 50.
Antonio.
And Antonio with the mark. Takes it in onto the chest. And Antonio is going to line up for his 12th goal of the season.
That's his 4th mark too, and they've had a few that have taken 4 marks, so they are dominating that category at the moment, and it's hard to tackle players when they've been paid a mark, obviously, without being captain obvious, so they're controlling possession well, West Perth, at the moment, and they're converting it to goals.
So Antonio, 24-year-old from the Quins Footy Club. On a slight angle. Distance isn't a problem at all. Oh, and it just went through to the left-hand side. So Antonio's kicking on the season. 11 goals, 5 now. Still solid. That was a bomb as well. Just didn't get the line he needed. Moved out from fullback. Taken in nicely by Bolton. Bolton chips it forward for Edwards. Edwards stabs it out to the wing. Patmore with the footy. Patmore slowing things down and bombs it up the far wing. And the umpire's given that one to Claremont. Continuing to slow things down, the Tigers. moving it slowly towards the arc of 50.
Oh,
and
mark.
A solid mark there. Taken in by West Perth. It was Pecoraro who took that one in. Haven't seen much of him today. And a strong tackle there by Edwards. West Perth managed to get it out of there. They're under the pump here a little bit. Claremont with numbers around the footy managed to take it in. And the umpire's going to call it in favour of the Cardies as it's chipped out, lobbed out to the wing for Rudy Riddick. Stabbed forward. He's trying to find Alexandre. Alexandre was good to muscle Patmore off the footy. Wedged it over the top for Antonio.
If anyone can goal from here, it's this man.
And now here's Keegan, not one of the premier small forwards in the comp.
Talk someone up, and that's what happens.
Talk someone up, and it's out of bounds on the full. And for the kids behind the goal in the King of the Pack contest,
there's about
that means nothing.
200 kids behind there, and obviously none of them with homework to do. So Claremont have done well to weather the storm in the last 5 or so minutes. Missed set shot from Antonio. Just about every player in this corner of the ground at the moment that you see on screen. Cupboard's bare on the outer side, so he's going to have to bring it out. Commentary side, high ball.
That's out.
And Luke Worthington with his 401st mistake on the season in the commentary box.
I stand by it.
Matt Williamson's been keeping a total. He finds you one chuppa chup for every one that you missed. Clever little tap down. Rogers got slung in the tackle. Mitchell. Nice clean hands.
I'll call it now, that was in.
Smallwood up towards his ruck in Eastland. Just looked to palm it and ended up infringing with that swinging arm. So West Perth take the resulting free kick. 2.5 kicks from home. That one's another entry inside 50. Keitel read it best off hands. Gets dumped in the tackle. Antonio did well in a confined space. In goes Knott. Kicks around the corner.
Beautiful.
Opportunistic. He has done that throughout the season. 25 goals, his first of the day. And it comes out of nothing really, but well done Keitel. Because he was about to be outmarked. He decided just to take a couple of steps to the back of the pack. And then Antonio, just with a bit of a chaos ball, looked to centre it and have a look at this. Almost kicking into his own teammate and Nathan Murray, who did well just to duck at the last second, much like a doubles partner when their teammate's about to serve. He ducks under the net. Keegan Knott, superb. 28 years old from North Beach. That's his 25th goal of the season. He only averages 9 disposals a game, Luke, but kicks around 3 goals a game. So 1 in 3 kicks for him so far throughout the season results in a major.
Efficiency, I call it.
23 points the margin. As we're about midway through this second term. Black with another clearance. Oh, crunched head on. Tigers players down. Not going to guess who it is, but he was levelled. Kick partially smothered from the paint of defensive 50. That Claremont player still down. Let's hope he's okay. That's a high ball, tumbling end on end. Antonio reads it best. He's corralled. Good tackle there from Mountford. Doesn't allow him to go anywhere, and the Claremont player still down. On the edge of the centre square, he was a good old-fashioned shirt front, but he looks to have adjusted, and he's back to this contest. West Perth off the right boot of Hobley. Awkward bouncing ball. The veteran in Mitchell got handball, fumbling at the back, and there's a hold, as it was Mitchell or one of his teammates was held without the football, and the recipient will be Declan Hardesty. Well, he's back to his defensive goal. Didn't like the lead from Rogers further afield or Lim. Clears the pressure to the outer side. No mark can be taken. Tigers getting numbers there. Little hand pass out the back now. Patmore Kicks effectively around the corner, and that one, unfortunately, does not find its intended target. It may have been touched, so we could have a boundary thrown on this outer side. That was a big hit. Still haven't found which player it was. Could have been Baldwin, who's back onto his feet in the middle of the ground. Eastland with two hands this time. Staging for the free kick. Not duping the umpire into it was Rogers, but the Tigers can clear. He'll receive it now. Has to sort of backtrack onto the football, but did it well. Good composure. Tigers back inside 50. One arm attempt there from Buller. And off hands, out of play, right on the arc of 50 metres on that outer side. And the champion Autoglass scoreboard has the biggest lead of the afternoon so far to West Perth as we tick over the 21-minute mark in the second term.
Back underway. Ball goes to ground off the hand of Eastland. Claremont pinballing it around. Bolton had it. Went into the hands of Eastland. Ball goes to ground now. Edwards. And umpire's going to have it. Just taking a quick look at the stat sheet. 196 disposals for West Perth to Claremont's 130. 66 ahead. And the law of averages would say they're on track to get about 130 disposals more than them by the end of the game if play continues this way. Solid game all around. Black, Murray, Gordon, and Moulton and Nelson.
Did you get an A for maths when you were a kid? Holding the ball.
Not quite, and holding the ball is the call.
I think it's a bit cruel that they've positioned the Mr. Whippy van right underneath our nose.
Yep, agree. Ball trickles over the boundary.
I think the umpire coaches have already put their order in.
What do you...
Extra sprinkles.
What do you make of the disposal numbers, Matt? Really dominating them.
Yeah, but I mean, you can have 100 more disposals than your opponent, but if you don't use it, it's much like the hit-out stats can be deceiving. It's all about their efficiency inside 50.
So a free kick again. Claremont will have it.
They need to get something going, and they've got to get a bit of momentum because we're in the closing stages of this term, and entries
Strong
inside 50
mark.
like that's not going to help.
Strong intercept mark taken in by Gordon, and
he's been good.
Has been good, Gordon, and that's it's going to be his 14th disposal when he gets rid of this one. It's his third mark of the game as well.
And Pearce really starting to win a lot of the football around the ground too. We've seen him cross the full-back now line and also up around the wings throughout this term and at half forward, so he's covering a lot of ground. As we've got a hold.
We have a hold again, so Claremont take three, trying to do something positive inside 50 here as they bomb it in again.
Ooh.
And a big fly up from Pegararo.
That's why they've restricted teams to the second fewest after Subiaco scoring shots throughout the season, because they've got big bodies like that. They can just spike the ball over the line and nullify any of that at the moment. And if the Tigers are going to be content with just bombing it in like that indiscriminately, they're not going to get anything going forward and making use of players like Buller on the forward line.
Ball went to ground. Black cleared it out of there. Good play. Ball went over the top where it was pushed out by Boyce. Bombing it forward. West Perth running back with the fly to the ball nicely. And it's taken in by Baldwin. Baldwin found an option. Moving it out of troubles, Mountford. Hardesty took it in.
Great kick.
And a stab through the middle to Anthony Tracy.
This is the kick that's let him down throughout the afternoon.
Davis, left foot kick. Just in front of left half forward. Van Ruin boots it in into a contest, and a strong mark is taken in by Bailey Rogers.
Probably their first contested mark almost inside 50 in this term, I'd say.
And Rogers, the 24-year-old from the Maris Junior Footy Club in his 88th game of league footy, averages 28 disposals, 6 goals, 3 on the season. So this for his 7th. There's the maths again, Matt. Slight angle, about a 45-degree angle, and he's 20 or so metres out. Bailey Rogers just before halftime to put Claremont slightly back in, and he does. 5-4-40 leads 3-5-23. Claremont closing in slightly on West Perth. I'd say their priority lies in just getting one more before halftime. That would help them significantly.
Well, West Perth currently leading the inside 50 count 24-22. So Claremont, unbelievably, have won the inside 50 count this term, 11-10.
Yep.
And 8 scoring shots to 10. So,
and there it is, despite the domination in possessions. They've managed to be just as efficient in that metric.
So Jai Bolton up to 18 touches, Aaron Black leading the way, and Gordonen, 14 disposals, 3 marks, has led the way in defence for the Cardis. Champion Autoglass scoreboard reads 17 points the margin. Almost 26 minutes have ticked over. Eastland, clever tap down to the goal kicker, and Rogers can link up with Hardesty. Now they're away, the Tigers. Mountford running into a little bit of trouble. Oh, that could be holding the ball. Well,
has to be.
He had 2 or 3 decisions and turned out he picked the 4th. Could this be a costly turnover? Riddick just paddles it past his opponent there in Baldwin. Can run to the paint of 50. Does the team think? Sets it up inside 50. Keitel chasing the ball back. Runs out of tarmac and through for a minor score. Clever little play glimpse there from what Rudy Riddick can offer. That little paddle past Baldwin, and then the centering ball results in the minor score. Lovely kick in. Anthony Davis looking for Eastland. 2, 3 bites. The umpire said it come off another series of hands. Retreating back towards the interchange gates was Patmore. They walk the tightrope on the outer side. High free kick. Well, this could be reversed because there's a bit going on now with Hardesty off the ball. Took exception to that. In comes Gordonen. Throws a stiff arm. So the ball will come back to Rogers on the wing. In fact, no, he's going to have to hand it off. Doesn't matter, he receives the hand pass. Gets very close to having his kick smothered. Tumbling ball out of play at left half forward as Rogers comes off for a well-earned break. And Bolton will come back onto the field of play. 27.5 minutes ticked over. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Thanks again to Shutterguard, also to CD Dodd, Scrap Metal Recyclers, and Front Row Screens. Bolton approaching 20 possessions to half-time. Well, he only had 13 in their previous meeting back in round 5. Clever work inboard. Little hand pass received now by Barton, who can steady around the corner. 2 straight for the Tigers. As Barton stamps his authority, kicks 13th goal of the season, his first of the afternoon. And finally, the dam wall is broken for the Tigers after dominating the inside 50s. Have a look at that clever little hand pass there from Patmore, and then under heavy duress, steadied himself with a swinging ball around his left shoulder, right boot, and that is through. Back-to-back goals, and now it's back to an even 2 goals on the Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Now, Hardesty's, I don't want to say losing his cool, but he took exception to what happened on the broadcast wing just 3 minutes prior, under our nose, when there was a free kick awarded. I think it went to Smallwood in the end, and Rogers was on the scene as well, so it's sort of spilling back over into the middle of the ground.
It was a wrestling match, if you remember last time these two played.
Well, we'll see what happens off the ball. Keep your eyes on him. And is that prior opportunity? No, another ball up just to the side of our bullseyes. So a 10-point lead at quarter time for West Perth has been turned into a 12-point margin as we arrive at the major change. So the early part of that term clearly dominated by West Perth, and credit to the Tigers, who are currently sitting atop of the tree in the OPTUS WAFL season. They've cut back the margin to 12 points. So for all that effort, West Perth managed to extend their lead by just 2 points in that term. The thoughts briefly of Luke Worthington in that second term.
I would just say for a positive for Claremont, it's closer than it looks by considerable amount. They played evenly to West Perth in the last half of that quarter, and they after getting quite dominated in the first 15 minutes of it. So really good from them to keep it that close. West Perth are going to need to put the foot down a little bit more. Claremont have been solid in the end of that.
So as both their teams make their way off to the changing rooms, we've arrived at half-time, round 12, Optus WAFL season. When we return after these messages, we'll run through some of the key numbers of that second term. We'll discuss what Claremont need to do to retake the lead, and we'll take you around the grounds at half-time. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Live scenes from Provident Financial Oval here in Joondalup. Perfect conditions too for footy and a healthy crowd as fans from both teams enjoying a kick out on the pristine playing surfaces. Wonderful complex up here at Arena Joondalup. And half-time sees the home team with a 2-goal lead. They led by 10 points over the benchmark so far of the season, Claremont. They've got a little bit of work to do as we run through some of the highlights thanks to CD Dodd of this first half. Tyler Keitel was well held in that second term. He kicked 3 goals in the opening term for West Perth. Mitchell Pearce was the recipient of a 50-metre penalty. Thomas O'Donnell's kicked one as well, and Keegan Knott with a very clever opportunistic snap in that second term. And 4 individual goal kickers so far for the Tigers. Bailey Rogers with their final goal of that term. Alexander Manuel, Isaac Barton with some clever work, and Van Rooyen as well. The 4 individual goal kickers for the Tigers, who trail by 12 points. We can tell you that Jai Bolton in game 100 leading all possession winners on the ground. 19 disposals, Luke Worthington, and he's had 5 inside 50. So he's providing not only ball winning ability, but that penetration moving forward.
Bolton's been unbelievable in this game. 14 of those disposals have been kicks as well. Taken in 3 marks. Moved it inside 55 times. He's leading in that category as well. So solid game all around from the 100 game.
I've loved the work of Gordonen in the back half.
Yep.
Also Zach Gordonen. He's had 14 disposals and 3 marks, and he's marshalled the defence pretty well. And there's been occasions where he's been either hemmed in against the goalposts in his own defensive end, but also in the pockets as well, and he makes good decisions under pressure, and he's a good ball user. Liked his work. And obviously Black, 18 disposals, but also 7 tackles. He really is the Swiss Army knife for the West Perth Falcons in game number 208 for him. What a servant and a fantastic player he's been in this competition. And then we need to mention the work from Oliver Eastland, because he's dominating the hit-outs, Luke. He's had 24 of those to half-time. Had a couple of almost marks around the ground, but he's very clever at ground level, and he's providing good running, good aerobic capacity around the ground also, the big man.
Yeah, absolutely. Been really solid. 24 hit-outs, 13 disposals, and a tackle in there as well. So dominant performance from him, and it always really shifts a game when you have your big men playing like that. So a bit going on the field down here.
Apparently we've got a viewer from Poland cheering in, so very...
Oh, hello.
Might have to say very good evening to you, or dare say it'd be the early hours of the morning over there. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens, and that's what's so beneficial of what the league's doing this year with their live streaming, allowed to say hello. So we're just trying to look for the Google Translate.
Chezesk.
Well, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced.
Check. I don't know.
How about Dizin Dobry? I think that means good morning.
Yep, Dizin Dobry. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Or hello.
Well, I am of Latvian background, which is very close to Poland.
I'm Italian,
but thanks for joining us wherever you are in the world. And if you're a West Perth fan or a Tigers fan, as we continue to just have a look at some of these highlights. Mitchell Pearce wore one high earlier in the first term. That's why he's got the heavy bandage around. And Eastland starting to work his way into the game. Callan England also. That was a superb mark, wasn't it, from West Perth. Let's go around the grounds very, very quickly. Round 12, Optus WAFL action, and Swan Districts leading in the closing stage of the second term against Subiaco. They could be lining up their second consecutive loss, the Lions. 5-7-37 to 3-3-21, so game still to play for over there. And Peel Thunder continuing to pile on the herd on East Perth. Approaching half-time, 9-6 Peel, leading East Perth 4-3. So that margin, 33 points. South Fremantle have kicked 10 goals straight against the Demons, who, without Busher, who's injured at the moment, and they've swung the axe there at Laff Lane Oval, even though they're playing at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. They've dropped Christian Ayres from the ruck and also Matthew Rogers. So Moss making the changes there, but it has not looked to have bear any fruit there, because 10 straight to 2-3. That's an emphatic lead at the moment. And West Coast have fought back against East Fremantle. It was locked up at 2-3 apiece at quarter time, and West Perth at half-time lead 5-5 to 2-5. So they could go back-to-back wins after that shock upset of the Lions. As you can see, all the juniors from up here in the northern suburbs. Have a look at that, gentleman.
Yeah.
He's either had a rough Friday night, or that's a mascot head that he's wearing. But the juniors out there parading, and fantastic support. And
the Seahawks out there, the Joondalup Kinross Jets.
Yep.
The Wanneroo Roos.
Yep.
About to come up on the screen.
Played a bit of junior footy against them, have you?
I have.
All right.
Won a premiership over Joondalup Kinross for the team on the screen now, Edgewater Woodvale.
Well, as our keen youngsters get a chance to strut their stuff out on the field, let's, with the help of Optus, take a look at AFL Premiership player Will Schofield's return to the WAFL. It all starts with yes.
I started my career here in Western Australia. I played most of my first year at Peel. It was kind of a good transition between junior footy for me and then AFL. It was that middle ground where I sort of grew up a little bit, and it was why I was keen on coming back here. I really felt like that did have a lot to do with me developing not only as a footballer but as a man.
So Hawthorn have done it.
Probably took a long time to get over 2015. When you make a grand final, you think it's the best thing ever, and then when you lose it, you realise it actually could be the worst day of your life. 2015 was just a horrible day. It took almost 3 years to get back there. 2018 was life-defining for me. My best mate was killed in a bike accident. After round one, went to the funeral in Victoria. Pretty much considered not coming back to AFL. I had my first child in June of that year, so that was a real wake-up call for me, and it was great. Fatherhood, changed me a lot. It was a huge roller coaster ride for me that year. Really feeling like my whole AFL life, it was all just gone, and I missed the opportunity. I was not going to get the opportunity to validate my work by playing in a premiership. I wanted that opportunity to, in my mind, validate my worth as a player, but as a person.
The Eagle has landed for the Premiers in 2018.
Having won, it certainly helped that, but I've definitely come to realise your value isn't what you are as a player, it's what you are as a person.
Yeah, well, really, when Scully decided to finish up playing at AFL level, I think he was lured naturally back to Peel because this is where he played his football before he played AFL, and he felt the sense of the community down here, and he's got a young family. So from what I can understand, it was quite an easy decision for Will to come back to the club, and yeah, we're definitely thankful that we've got him.
Like sort of any player that comes out of the AFL, you're exposed to an elite level of everything really that comes with AFL. Training, diet, mentality, you name it, we've seen it at AFL level. So I guess some guys go into coaching, and not really for me. I don't really see myself as a coach, but I do like teaching and I like leading young men.
I know he's really optimistic about the young talent that's coming through here at the club. So it's been great for him to run our emerging leaders program with our Colts and our senior emerging leaders. There's no doubt that he'll help those guys develop.
I do it fortnightly. We work through everything I've learned as an AFL footballer. So it's a little bit of a masterclass for them on leadership, but really it's about being a better man and leading better as a person, understanding yourself and giving you a platform to succeed. If the guys go out and get drafted, I'll be proud, but it'll be awesome to see. But if they come out and they've learned something and they're able to be a better person outside the footy club, well, I've probably played my role.
Will Schofield, a premiership player with the West Coast Eagles and an unbelievable career as he transitions into retirement from professional footy, continuing with the Peel Thunder. Welcome back to Provident Financial Oval. As we pan over the ground, all the junior footy clubs in the West Perth district having a parade on the field today. Good on them. And some exciting footy being played here in the northern suburbs. 5 goals, 5-41. West Perth lead Claremont 4-5-29. Some footy being played on the hill. And we welcome back Matt Chetchins.
Yep, half-time, a little bit for the Tigers to do. They managed to kick 2 unanswered goals to finish that second term. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty big hill for them to climb in this third term. As the juniors start to gather around the inside, around the 50-metre arc to our right of screen. We'll throw for some final messages. When we come back, we'll do one final score update from around the grounds, OPTUS WAFL action round 12, and discuss what these two teams will need to do if they're to take out a win. Can the Tigers maintain their top spot, or will the Cardies almost jump into the top 3? Find out on the other side of this break.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Live pictures from Provident Financial Oval. Some keen youngsters from a variety of clubs up here in the northern suburbs of Perth. Matt Chetchins in commentary this afternoon, joined by Luke Worthington. We hope you're enjoying Front Row Screen's call of OPTUS Round 12 2021 action as the women's competition gets down to the nitty-gritty. Luke, we've got the prelim final. Swan Districts having to take on Subiaco for a spot in the grand final against Peel Thunder. Swan Districts, they could go out in straight sets after dominating the regular season.
Would be a shame.
Half time. We can take you around the grounds. 16 points is the margin currently at Leederville Oval. Swan District's leading Subiaco 5-7 to 3-3 in that contest.
Subiaco.
Yeah, it could be. Could be back-to-back losses, but you wouldn't write off a team like that. Harrison Marsh with 16 disposals in that game. And Sam Fisher, who's been a little quiet. He was pretty quiet last week too for Swan Districts. He's got 12 disposals, and Jesse Palmer also with 12 there. And Peel Thunder dominating East Perth at the moment at half-time. 9-6-60 leading East Perth 4-3-27. And Will Schofield, who we saw the package during the half-time break, 8 disposals, 5 marks and 2 tackles. And that game being dominated by Gyro, who should surely be pressing a claim for the Dockers, who actually had a win today over the Magpies. Jackson Ramsey with 16 disposals along with Angus Scott. And East Perth starting to get a couple of bodies back too now. Nick Robertson, I know, has missed a lot of football so far. Former Brisbane Lions player. He'll be a welcomed addition, but just the 4 disposals to him for half-time. And South Fremantle doing a number on Perth currently, as much as that pains me to say. 10 straight they are to half-time. Mason Shaw has 3 goals, keeping pressure on Tyler Keitel. They're neck and neck at the moment. Manfred Kelly, in his debut season, he's been serviceable across half-forward for the Bulldogs. And Perth just not getting it done. They were so disappointing in the second half last week when they capitulated to the East Fremantle Sharks. And the final game for round 12 sees the West Coast Reserves leading East Fremantle.
Solid from them. Few big ins for the Eagles side. Witherden's in.
It looks as though East Fremantle are rather errant in front of goal. They've kicked 2 goals, 5 so far through that first half there at New Choice Homes Park. Mark Hutchings, 25 disposals and 5 tackles. He's a great tagger, isn't he? Obviously at AFL level, just imagine what he could do. And Hamish Brayshaw, been big raps on him. Obviously a very talented family. And Alex Witherden, pretty handy to have someone of his quality.
Pretty handy to have someone like Brander in as well. Xavier O'Neill, Bailey Williams. Big presence he would be in the waffle.
As we see West Perth to the right of screen, just commencing their warm-ups. They've been impressive throughout. Keegan Knott with a very clever goal on that second term. And if you've just joined us, where have you been? You missed the Tyler Keitel show in the first term, kicked 3 goals. Before a little Tigers mini revival, Isaac Barton, Alexander Manuel, Bailey Rogers and Van Royen have kicked goals for them.
They have.
Aaron Black, probably best on ground so far. 18 disposals, 4 marks and 7 tackles. Kane Mitchell, that man on screen, will want to try and find more of the football, you would suggest. 9 touches to half-time. But Jai Bolton has really stepped up in his milestone game. 19 disposals in game 100. 3 marks and 2 tackles, but he leads all on the ground as far as pumping the ball inside 50. He has 5 of those. So I just think Claremont need to get better service inside 50. Buller hasn't really had a chance to run at the footy.
No.
A lot of their goals have come from those smaller stature players. But it was a big out for them with Lockie Martinez, who had 42 disposals in round 5. And Anthony Tracy, who was named as an emergency on Thursday, came in to the lineup. I want to make better use of Jack Buller in that forward 50 arc. Rudy Riddick there on screen, number 32.
Riddick's been quiet today.
Yeah,
compared to last week, I would say.
He only needs a moment to turn a game, as we saw last week against Swan District. So tight-knit huddle. West Perth looking to cement their spot in the top 4. And a large crowd gathering at Provident Financial Oval. Wonderful facilities down here. Plenty to do for youngsters.
This is my first time commentating up here as well. Quite enjoying it.
Interesting article written during the week from John Townsend, focusing on how they've blooded youth, and obviously don't want to flog a dead horse, but they have had financial difficulties, and that was highlighted by the Swan District's president last week, and that backfired of sorts because West Perth really put Swan Districts to the sword last week, and no former listed AFL players on their list. And you have a look through their lineups, and they've blooded and youth so many players, West Perth, and it's a credit to them. So Hardesty, who was fired up in that second term, looking to get something out of his troops. Had a bit of push and shove on the near side wing and also into the middle of the ground. And can he get his midfielders responding? As players start to get into position. Sticking with Claremont, your original tip?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Claremont. They've been solid all game. Other than a few little things, they did struggle in some areas in the first half, like we mentioned. I think that it's the makings of a good side, that after that they're only 12 points
and
back.
If they clean up around half forward, I mean, Callan England, he's been serviceable. I mean, he's had 5 marks and 7 disposals, but he's kicked 0-3 today, and a lot of them from tight angles. So
yep.
Looks as though Hardesty's making his way to the bench, so he gave his troops a rev up and then heads over towards the bench. It's going to get a little bit of attention maybe on the lower body to warm him up for this second half. So West Perth kicking to the left of your screen. Claremont in the white shorts. Kicking to the right. That's the marquee end of the ground with all the junior setups.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Matt Adams, Ryan Shelton and Rod McCaw in game 200. The umpires this afternoon doing a fantastic job. The Tigers look to go forward. Mountford try to hack it off the ground. Couldn't do so. In goes Barton. Dumped in a good tackle. Secondary ball up. Only 12 points the margin, but 9 scoring shots to 11. Thanks to Champion Auto Glass. Thanks also to CD Dodd, Scrap Metal Recyclers. And to Optus, obviously wonderful supporters of the men's and women's competitions this season. Going nowhere is Nelson underneath the Tigers there. They pounce. Strong work from Isaac Barton. So Eastland and Delaporte. The former wins it down. Rogers slung off the football. Riddick. Good work in tight spaces, but an interesting kick. Pitches kindly for the West Perth player. Was that high? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Alexandre will take the free kick. Screaming for the footy short was Nathan Murray. He's still here on the interchange gates, but it's been ignored. Maybe they've had a falling out on the training trackers.
Good track down there.
Yeah, well, he had that option on short. Probably regrets that decision now. Claremont kicks into the midriff of Keegan Knott. They look to mop up. Oh, running into trouble there was Baldwin. Saw him take a heavy knock earlier in the game, and that kick's going to be too wide.
I'll call it that time. That was out of bounds.
Yeah, and Hardesty could have almost taken that. Belly down as he gives Moulton a bit of a how do you do around the ribs. Nothing too sinister, but unfortunately that has been a feature of their game, the turnover. So Moulton looks to peel off the 45-degree kick and turns out okay in the end. Hobley looks to go again with a peeling 45-degree kick. Connor Lynch. Told to go out and does. Kicks inside 50. Is that mark going to be paid? Yep. A free kick. Take your pick. Heavy collision. And the footy ends up in the hands of Thomas Boys, who's kicked one straight so far in the season. He's just his 8th game out of Joondalup Kinross Junior Footy Club.
Big turnout from their juniors today.
So we'll get a good side of his set shot here. 45-degree angle, looks beautiful off the boot. And this could be a free kick. after the celebration because there was a player dumped.
I think so too.
We'll wait and see what the umpires decide, but the players have all gathered and bodies still flying.
Interesting.
It's a bit of a Royal Rumble situation at the moment. That was a lovely looking kick. Let's honour that first of all from Boys. So his second goal of the season, hasn't missed. So players dispersing back to the middle of the ground. I don't think there's going to be a free kick unless they take it now. So the umpires will award the free kick.
Yep.
And it's going the way of Eastland. So play resumes. Touch number 20 for Giant Bolton. Sends him inside 50. That's a poor kick. So a chance for West Perth to rebound from their defensive 50. Chris Shannon. Plenty of numbers on this near side. There's 3 Tigers back with a flight. They could have raffled that. And in the end, into the arms of Dylan Smallwood. Back to Bolton. He's got a man open in Pat Moore who gets closed down.
And that was Bolton's 20th disposal.
Dinks one over the top to Rogers. Rogers wheels and goes. Kicks inside 50. Well weighted kick. Better build up now. They finally get some clean ball inside 50. Jason Carter from Port Wyndham originally. And there's a lot going on off the ball. Temper's starting to flare. In fact, that's Tracy that's actually taken the mark. My apologies, not Jason Carter, number 22. So the members getting a bit fired up. Hardesty's on the scene. So Anthony Tracy, the late inclusion from Cable Beach. Hasn't seen much of the footy this afternoon. He needs to kick this, and he starts it right. It's not working its way back.
Looks great coming off the boot, but not quite.
So a chance for Moulton to reset. Easy for us to spot in the commentary position with those fluoro-coloured boots. Not sure if that's aqua or baby blue as Bolton gives his opponent a bit of a clip around the back of the head. Good mark in the end taken by Nelson, who brings it inboard. The kick mark game of West Perth's been prominent this afternoon. Now a player's just stepped off the bench. That kick's poor. Straight down the throat of Tracy. Couldn't complete the chest mark. He's got 2-on-1 to beat now. Does he want to roll over the boundary line? Is that prior opportunity? No, we'll have a ball in. So Temper's getting a little fired up, you would say, Luke Worthington, early stages of the 13.
Yeah, these teams just seem to have no time for each other. Since the game we watched at Revo Fitness Stadium, which was a WWE match from start to finish, and now Temper's flaring up again after the slightest inconvenience.
Luke, can you believe that the umpires' coaches have gone down to Mr. Whippy Van? They've got themselves 2 soft serves each and didn't bring us back 1.
Ball goes back in. It was tapped down by Buller.
Black got flattened off the ball there. That's not 15.
Yeah, that was not 15. The left foot kick from Mitchell. It found Manuel, maybe travelled 10. And the 250 referees in the West Perth members stand
it's easy to do from there. In saying that, I would not be buying property off that umpire if he was selling.
So
they have to kick this one because it's important they get the first of this turn. Just to breathe a bit of life.
Crucial kick for Manuel.
No.
22-7 on the season, and he just misses that wide. A crucial kick in this game. 23-7, my apologies. Moves to 23-8. So Manuel just hooked it. He was fortunate to have the ball in hand, I would say, after a short kick. Was paid a mark.
Tell you what, the locals on this broadcast wing are getting fired up, which is great.
It's fun. Play continues. Ball nearly trickles out of bounds. Oh. He did well to hold it in, did Buller.
Oh.
Got 2 players that he's trying to muscle. Alexandre, one of them. He's not small either. Excitement at Provident Financial Oval. West Perth lead by 16. Ball went over the top out of the hand of Boys. Down for it is Pierce. Claremont nearly clear it through Bolton.
Oh.
Here's Hardesty. And he gets cleaned up.
And that's good umpiring too, because he wouldn't have had the best view of that.
And Black getting the free kick.
Oh.
Errant kick went into the hands of Alexandre. Pierce managed to keep it in. Handball over the top, nearly finds Riddick. Delaporte brought it in.
Oh, just got rid of it.
Couldn't get it. Did get it out of there, sorry. And Hardesty brought it over the boundary. The West Perth faithful loving it here at Provident Financial Oval. 7-5-47, leads 4-7-31. A throw in on the broadcast wing. Right underneath our position. Ball goes straight to Bolton, who got wrapped up. What's the call going to be?
Yeah, definitely.
Was holding.
Yeah, Bolton got dumped. He didn't have the footy.
Chips it out to the wing. It's taken in by Rogers. Rogers kicked over the top. Not the target he wanted. Hamilton takes it in. Hamilton kicked through for Pierce. West Perth are going to slow things down. Still extracurriculars going on off the footy that you can't see on our broadcast angle. Gordon had kicked it back, overlapped himself. And the horseshoe works it out to the right back pocket. Strong hands taken in, Nathan Murray.
It's going to be a lot of players without skin on their knees at the end of this game. How many kicks have we seen landed around the ankles of players that having to slide in and take marks?
Australian cricket team, there we go. Australian cricket team, if they're struggling later this summer, they'll be looking in Joondalup. So umpire has taken that one in. Ball goes up just at the paint of 50. Kicked inside 50 for Claremont. West Perth trying to handle it. Who's going to get it out of there? West Perth do. Alexandre with the footy. Sorry, Gordon with the footy. Chips it
we
the back pocket.
need to acknowledge that good bit of play from Munns. That was superb because he looked to be trapped and hemmed in. Somehow got the ball out.
Bomb down the wing and almost a strong pair of hands brought it in. Bombed inside 50 by Rogers. Ball nearly trickled over the boundary. Could they be on here? But nearly had it. And the umpires are going to have to review this one. I thought it might have gone off a hand before it trickled over the line.
So Chloe Wright, the goal umpire, will confer, and we're just waiting.
We got a CD on replay here.
We've got the benefit of that.
I don't think that came off his foot, and I don't think Barton made it in time. So we'll see what she saw down there without the benefit of video replay. We'll stand by either one.
Bit of a congregation. Let's have another look. So it was Jack Buller that came whistling through.
That's the goal.
So they have to give it to Buller in the end.
So the goal has been given to Buller. It was deemed that it did come off his foot.
Well, we said they needed to bring him into the game, but more so with a kick mark rather than, well, it's either going to go to Barton or, well, Barton definitely didn't get
Barton did not touch it. It was that goal would have been given to, that goal would have been given to Buller. Here it is one more time.
How good are the front row screens cameramen? They are on there. Despite one of them wearing a Chicago Blackhawks top. Buller, is that a kick?
I think he did get it.
Oh, it is. Great decision. The umpires' coaches are up. They're about.
Yeah,
well done. Just gets his toe to it.
I originally thought it wasn't even close.
Well, error 402. Ball back in the middle, and field umpire Rob McCaw. Game 200. Congratulations again. Good bounce. Eastland won it down. So the Tigers with the first goal. Bolton tries to whistle through. Couldn't get there. Eastland, well, he's got to stoop down from the penthouse all the way to the basement. And he gets wrapped up. We wait. The umpire hovers and arm to the chest. Eastland will have to peel himself up off the turf. He's been superb today. Approaching 30 hit-outs. 10 points the margin. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Slung off the ball was Hardesty. Into the hands of Chris Shannon, who's running the wrong way. He knew what he was doing. Fed it off by hand to Scott Nelson. And they just looked to take the air out of the ball. Gordonen, probably the best 3 players on the ground, in my opinion. Matthew Lloyd, not the left-footed former bomber. And they look to rebound. Comes out to Riddick. Marks in front of Lim. Chisels one over the top. Good build-up play. Pecoraro, second mark of the afternoon. Shallow entry inside 50. Tigers with the advantage now. Hand pass in board. They kick up towards England. He's got a one-on-one battle, but he's out-pointed. That's superb. What a mark. Dean Munns, he's taken 2 good marks. Back to Gordonen. They look to build. Thomas O'Donnell measures it perfectly. Off to Shane Nelson. Gives it off to a teammate. Dumped as he kicked to Antonio. Down the ground. Guess who? I think it was Hardesty on the scene. We'll stick with play. Can West Perth get a response? The ball goes across the face of goal. Is it through for a minor score? It is. So Keitel did take the mark. Unfortunately, he was over the goal line. Boundary umpire and goal umpire working well together. So they clear it outside 50. High ball through the hands of Buller. Into the arms now of Tracy. He's come to life in this third term. Kicks to a one-on-one. Barton back with the flight of the ball. Well spoiled. Killing the contest there was Scott Nelson. And a chance to draw breath. 11 points the margin. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington in commentary. Thanks again to Front Row Screens. As we await the reset. The only goal of the term so far off the boot of Buller. Eastland won it down. Hardesty. That's a bit of ill discipline from him. A needless free kick so West Perth can go. Antonio, 7 marks. No, not paid. Did he rope it in? No. No prior opportunity. And a chance for another stoppage. Claremont looking to go back-to-back goals.
Right on the corner of the centre square, they go up for it. Ball to ground, Crummer's going for it. Hardesty's in there, handballed it out. Taken in by Carter. Carter tried to wheel around. Murray with the footy, tried to move it out in the direction of O'Donnell. O'Donnell chipping it forward, went over the top of a one-on-one. Going to ground is Not. Holding on to the footy, Baldwin trying to get rid of it. Ball gets taken in by Not. The umpire at this point is going to have it. No, holding the ball is the call. Against West Perth. So the umpire's deemed most likely that Keegan Knott was hovering over the top of the footy before it was taken in by Baldwin.
Did not get rid of it.
He did not.
Had to be done.
Into a contest that spilt over the back. Running forward is Boyce. Handballed across, nearly chipped forward, and a great smother by Van Ruin. Umpire blows his whistle. Someone was dumped off the play. And he looks to be slowly getting up. Does Pierce.
Well, he wore one in the first term, and now he's got another clip around the back of the head.
Big time, yep. Inboard kick. Hamilton. One of the biggest men on the field, 195 centimetres. Chipped it through the middle. And it's going to be called high again, but is the umpire going to change his mind after the shove off the ball? He won't. Kick goes right into the corridor, and he gets flattened. At some point, there might need to be a 50 call. Aaron Black flattened after taking the mark. No eyes for the footy. Play continues, however. And Pecoraro would want that one back. Holding on to it on the far side is England. Ripped forward. And a strong pair of hands overhead by Aaron Black, the intercept mark.
Shout out to Peter Marnham. He says, "G'day from Sydney, go the Cardies." And also, best of luck to the West Perth girls, apparently heading to the Rogers Cup Grand Final next weekend. So thanks to Joy Keys for the heads up, and best of luck to the West Perth girls.
Moulton left foot drop punt, travelled to the far side and trickled off hands out of bounds. There's Declan Hardesty.
Just having a look below us at the Claremont bench, and Rogers looks to be in a little bit of discomfort. He's trying to have a jog up along the boundary line. He looks to be favouring his left hamstring, so some nervous looking Claremont coaches in the box to our right.
Ball gets pushed inside 50. Keitel nearly took it in. It was pushed over the top of him. Smallwood.
Oof, well done.
Hands it over the top of the pack, and a strong kick out to the far side. Gets taken in by none other than Bolton.
No, out of bounds on the full.
Oh, out of bounds. My apologies. So West Perth with the footy here. Pearce moving it forward. Strong hands from Keitel. He might even back himself from here. Probably not. Probably just a few metres past what he'd need. So he's going to push it in. Wasn't quite what he needed there as the ball trickles over the line and out of bounds. Rogers down on the boundary. Bailey Rogers for Claremont. Just doing some lateral runs.
So just 2 goals kicked in this term. So really, the margin just been shaved by 1 point. As we've got another stoppage inside 50, Eastland. Down to his teammate. 2-on-1 tackle, obviously no prior opportunity. Nathan Murray, who won plenty of the football, had 9 disposals in the opening term. Delaporte with a rare win in the ruck. However, it's the Tigers that get the clearance. Is that mark going to be paid? Yes, it is. In fact, that is Delaporte, my apologies. Keitel was doing the ruck before. So the left footer goes into the pocket, and setting himself almost unopposed is Eastland. That's his first mark. He's dominated the hit-outs. He's begging for a 50-metre penalty. Instead, he goes across his own goal face. They move it to Lim. Well, the footy's entered the field of play there. Lim goes down the line. Tracy's had a much better third term. He want that moment back. However, let's acknowledge the effort of Tyson Moulton, who managed to be wary to the playing on there of Tracy and forces the stoppage just between the wing and half forward. 21.5 minutes have elapsed. Thanks for joining us on Front Row Screens. Optus round 12 action of the WAFL. Here come West Perth through Nelson. Great mark. Sliding in and taking that one for the Tigers in defence, Thomas Baldwin. He stepped over the mark, so he has to play on. Does accurately. Ben Edwards. Into the hands of Eastland. Second time he's begged for a 50-metre penalty. Riddick retreating. Bolton. Now they could be in a bit of trouble. Baldwin to Lim. Lim over his head. Clever. Out to Hardesty. Has to go off one step. 2-on-2 contest. Trying to work his way under it was Manuel. He can stoop down. Clever little paddle out the side door to Patmore. Patmore gets corralled but fires off the hand pass. This is Manuel to an open square. It bounces through. Well done, Manuel. From 50 metres, looked up, vacant square, slammed it onto his boot, and it bounces kindly. Their second term, they're within 5 points now, the Tigers. We knew their run was going to come. He kicked one in the opening term. Let's have a look at this passage of play. Well done, Patmore. Fed it off by hand. 51 metres out. He looked up. You also had Barton screaming for the ball, didn't need him. So Manuel, the right option in the end, and that brings them back within a kick. That was a great finish.
Unreal.
It's kick 2 now. Comes the first multiple goal kicker this afternoon for the Tigers. Thanks again to CD Dodd. Scrap metal recyclers, they're the best in the business. Champion Auto Glass, we thank you. And Front Row Screens, wonderful supporters of local sport here in WA. Delaporte, wouldn't think he's a ruckman, now you would. Just fed off the hand pass. Bit of a blind kick. Tracking back is Baldwin. Links up with a teammate in Edwards. Moves it back inboard now. This is Mountford. Honours the lead of Manuel. He looks for the tall timber. Going back is Van Rooyen. Coming across is Rogers. Feeds it off back by hand, showing clean pair of heels is Patmore. Great disposal. It'll be a tough kick, but better build-up play. This is Tyrone Smallwood. Will have a chance. He's kicked 0-0 on the season. From Royals down in Albany. 27th game, and this will put the Tigers in front. They've not led this game for a long time. It'll take his best effort. Gets close to the man on the mark. It won't score. Whistle. Hold. Going the way of West Perth, right in that right fullback pocket. So they managed to claw on to their 5-point lead.
West Perth in the back pocket. They lead by 5. Moving it out of there into a pack. Ball got pushed down.
Just a couple of shout-outs. Matt King, we welcome you. Brent Sturman. And the greatest mid-on fielder of all time, Ben Croot, is watching. Welcome to you, Ben Croot.
Now West Perth, they look a little bit dangerous here. Ball moves through the corridor. Claremont with a couple of numbers around the footy. Edwards has it. He's moving it through the middle and has some space. Now Tracy lobbing it inside 50. What can they do here? Rogers over the top.
Well, the West Perth fans want a free kick. They're not going to get it because that was fair. They were screaming for a free, and the noise of affirmation has been rejected, and rightfully so, because that was just good body work. Now, we saw him about 8 minutes ago down on the interchange gates working on his hamstring, so we'll get a good sight of it now.
From the Morris Junior Footy Club, Bailey Rogers. 6-3 before today on the season.
Oh, the goal umpire's done a bit of work.
And splits the middle. The Tigers back in front.
3-1 in this term. So Bailey Rogers kicked 1 in the second term. Jack Buller off his ankle. And Alexander Manuel with that superb shot from 50 metres on the run. And that solitary goal being kicked by Tom Boys for West Perth to the left of screen. And it sees the Tigers now leading by a point.
We've got a game on our hands here, and as we move...
Do you think our good colleague and Paul Persick will just be tearing up the production truck at the moment?
Yes.
He was so confident at halftime.
If we had a 3-man desk here, papers, pens, everything flying everywhere.
Couple of shout-outs. Luke Stevens, Peter Marnham, and Bobby Bending. He's a gun cricketer, Bob Bending.
Claremont have it in the middle. Eastland got rid of it. Ball.
Oh, well done, Hardesty.
Hanging around. Trying to go for it is Mitchell. Getting to it first was Carter.
Well done.
Mitchell now trying to move it. West Perth getting hands on it. Lloyd had it. Claremont still unable to dispose of it. And it moves West Perth's way, but straight into the hands of Lim. Lim moves it out where it's bombed forward by Tracy. Ball spills over the top of the pack. Taking it in was Nelson. He got tackled hard by two Claremont players.
Too high.
Too high. He'll be given the free kick. West Perth at right half back. Ball in the hands of Shane Nelson on the stroke of three-quarter time. 7-6, 48. West Perth now trailing Claremont 7-7, 49. Heading into the final term. The Tigers holding a 1-point lead. Matt Chechens.
Yeah, so they managed to take their first lead in a long time. 1 point the margin. And I said earlier in the call, Claremont are 7-0 when they lead at three-quarter time. So West Perth are going to have to do something that no other team has managed to do, and that's to overrun the Tigers in the fourth term. As the fans start to spill onto the ground, that's not a good sign either, with Aaron Black looking in a bit of distress. He's leading all ball winners. Well, chance for us to draw breath. We turn for home. Three-quarter time, round 12, the Optus WAFL season. For season 2021, will West Perth or Claremont take the chockies? Stay tuned in to find out. We'll be right back.
Shatterguard has been installing Perth's best shutters for over 30 years. With no advertising signs on your front lawn and no sales gimmicks, visit shatterguard.com.au.
Thanks for joining us, Matt Chechens and Luke Worthington, courtesy of Front Row Screens, bringing you this action. We have arrived at three-quarter time here at Provident Financial Oval in Joondalup, and a fight back from the Tigers. They've clawed their way back. They trailed by 10 points at quarter time to the Falcons. That margin was extended by 2 points. They trailed by 12 points, but they have their noses in front with just one term to play. The league leaders, last season's runners-up. As we have a look at this goal kick, the only one to the left of screen in that term, courtesy of Tom Boys, who kicked his second goal. And then all of a sudden, Claremont sprung to life. They kicked 3-1 in the third term. Bailey Rogers kicking one after having some hamstring issues earlier in the term. Jack Buller got a very interesting goal that you can just see now thanks to CD Dodd. That was rightfully paid as a goal because our wonderful producer in the truck managed to get the slow motion footage, didn't he, Luke Worthington?
Yep,
he managed to get bootlaces to the ball, and they needed that. And then Alexander Manuel, we'll see in a moment, one of the best goals of the game from all of 50 metres into a vacant square, and they have a bit of momentum heading into the last term.
Really enjoying watching this team at the moment. They kept it close all game when they were under the pump, and that's the important thing that's allowed them to get right back into this one. And here's the goal here.
As we have a look at this, a little clever hand pass as he went to ground from Patmore, and then Manuel, as he's done throughout the season, gets the kind bounce, and that's what happens with a vacant square. And just like that, they were back in the game. Run you through some of the numbers. Eastland's dominated in the middle. 32 hit-outs this afternoon, had 2 marks in the third term. Aaron Black, who looks rather sore with a turn to play, 23 disposals and 10 tackles, so he does it going both ways. Jai Bolton in game number 100 added to his 19 disposals at half-time. He has 26 to half-time. And West Perth still with one more entry inside 50. without sounding like Captain Obvious, whoever wins this fourth term is going to win the game. We said before, Claremont's 7-0 when leading at three-quarter time, but a big parochial crowd to say the least. They've been very vocal, particularly to our right here of the commentary position. We'll be looking to cheer home the West Perth Falcons, who have turned their season around of sorts. They had an impressive win against East Perth, and then defeating Swan Districts at Still Blue Oval last week in a game that we both called, and they dominated that game from go to woe, and they've started really optimistically today and then have started to falter in the latter stages of this term, but we're not going to write them off just yet as their huddle starts to disperse. Jeff Valentine, on what he's addressed to his charges. It's been a game full of emotion, hasn't it, Luke Worthington? Tempers spilling over in that third term.
Always seems to be this season between these two teams. It's a big fourth quarter coming up. This is possibly the most exciting game we've broadcast this year on front row screen.
You wouldn't think this was the West Perth team of round 5. They were done by 52 points.
No, not at all.
And you take Blake Wilhelm, who's one of the best backmen in the competition, who played in that. And obviously a late withdrawal this afternoon of Martinez, who's been superb throughout 12 rounds of the Optus season. Now Claremont's still in their huddle, so being addressed by their head coach and Ashley Prescott, former Docker, and Prescott, I think he played for the Lions from memory. Oh, he definitely played for the Dockers as their crowd starts to disperse. It's a fair way to travel from the leafy green suburbs out here. We're going to take you around the grounds. Optus WAFL season round 12. Subiaco fought back.
It was Richmond.
There you go. 5 minutes played in the final term at Leederville Oval, and Subiaco fought back 6-11-47 to 6-4-40. So the Black Ducks by just 7 points, but they've had 7 more scoring shots. Will that inaccuracy come back to haunt them? East Perth, what a resurgence from them in the third term. They trailed by over 5 goals. They've cut the margin back to 9 points at three-quarter time. So Peel Thunder running out of legs, 9-8 to 8-5. That margin 9 points. South Fremantle, 46 points is their lead over the Perth Demons. 14 goals 2. How accurate's that? Compare that to Perth. 5 goals 10, Luke. 15 scoring shots. Wow. To 16, and South Fremantle lead by 46 points. And West Coast could go back-to-back in the reserves. Their reserve side, we should say. Approaching three-quarter time, they lead 9-7, 61 to 4-11. 35. 1 point the margin. Bolton sends it high. That's come down with ice on it. Pitches right in front of Black into the arms of Mountford to Hardesty. He links up now. This is Anthony Davis over the top now to Patmore. Set up a goal for Manuel in that third term. Up towards Buller. Took Moulton without the footy. Good decision, umpire. So Moulton, that right half back, catches a break. Claremont coach is not happy in the box to our right. That's a long kick down the line to a 2-on-1. In goes Black, taken without it by Hardesty. That's 2 needless free kicks almost in the same position that he's given up. So into the hands of Black. This will be touch number 24. He's got 10 tackles to go with that. Big fly from Keitel. Really mistimed his leap at the football. Claremont can clear momentarily. Moulton sits under it. Buller came over to spoil. Back in the hands of Moulton. Back to Nelson. Kick well smothered. Mountford, well done. Back to Patmore. Has got time for a bounce. Maybe another. He's run a long way. Looks for Rogers. Going back is Munns. Keeps the ball in front of him. Good composure from the West Perth defender. A chance to relieve some pressure now as the mark's taken. Right at the interchange gates. This is Chris Shannon. Interesting ball inside. Allowed Mountford to close the space. Steps around the would-be tackler. Goes off one step. Walks the tightrope. Out of bounds on the full. So Claremont have turned it over across half forward 3 times now to start this term. No lead's been offered short. He goes long. Big bodies fly. Good spoil on the football from Davis. Tries to link up by hand. That was a free kick on Hardesty, not seen. Play on, says the umpire. Patmore somehow gets toe to the ball. And out of play as Dylan Smallwood comes crashing in. Well, interesting start. 2.5 minutes have elapsed in this fourth term. The margin still 1 point in favour of the league-leading Tigers.
Back underway from the boundary throw-in. Ball hit the ground first. Lynn collected it, moved it out to Carter. Carter's going to chip it forward, and it's taken in on the chest nicely. Moved inside 50 by Claremont. West Perth moving it out of trouble. The one-handed grab by Murray on the far wing. Chipped across. Lloyd with the footy. West Perth slowing things down. Here's Aaron Black. Four-time best and fairest, 2014 Sandover, veteran of the club. Black had 24 disposals this week, averages 28. Only had 21 last week, so back on the wagon is Black. West Perth moving it forward. They're going to need one here, and they get taken in. Holding the ball is the call. So it's going to be Tracy coming up with that one.
Well, he's had a pretty good second half. He was virtually unsighted in the first half.
Barton took it in, quieter than usual today. Mountford kicks it inside 50. One-on-one contest.
Chopping of the arms.
And another free kick is called. Gordon and West Perth moving in the horseshoe. Hamilton has it in the back pocket. Limited for options. Clever kick. Still slowing things down, the Falcons. Got in a little bit of trouble here. Shannon's going to have to be quick. He moved it to the...
Oh, big collision.
And
that's Thomas Baldwin.
Is down. Player's going to have to stop.
Well, that's the second time this afternoon that we've seen him flat on his back. And you have a look at Tyler Keitel was whistling through. He's 196 centimetres, 91 kilograms, up against 180 centimetres and 71. But he's got to his feet courageously.
Yeah, looked to just be slightly winded. And that is really good news after seeing that one directly in front of us. Play continues nonetheless. Manuel tried to bring it in. Carter moves it along for Edwards. Edwards is going to push it inside 50 over the top of Rogers. Holding onto the footy now, Van Rooyen. Rogers, a kick around the body. He's got it. Tigers extend their lead to 7.
Van Rooyen, that was superb. He was the one that gave the goal assist then, and Rogers, right on cue, timed his run superbly. That is a polished finish. 7 points, so you could see the damn wall was about to bust thanks to CD Dot replay. Have a look at this. The stiff arm from Van Rooyen, and he fed it off to Rogers, who was about to be closed down by Moulton. And all credit must go to the youngster, because that was a clever piece of play, not only backing himself with a stiff arm. And Rogers goes back to the goal square, so no signs of that left hamstring injury that we saw in the third term. He's kicked 3. 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and make that his third in the fourth. The fourth quarter specialists, the Tigers, enjoy their biggest lead since the first term, 7 points. Delaporte won it down. Here come the Falcons now, up inside 50 and just floating over the head of the intended target there of Mitchell Pearce. Patmore looks to transfer play. He's gone with the 9-iron. He's put a lot of air under that footy. He's going to ask a lot of his teammate. Gets ridden into the turf. Is that Pryor? No. Good closing speed from Tristan Hobley. 7 minutes have elapsed, 7 points the margin. Champion Auto Glass scoreboard. Matt Chetchins and Luke Worthington bringing all the action. Delaporte swings it in, inside Knott. He copped a shocking bounce. Here comes Rudy. Riddick around the corner, and he misses. Just scrapes through for a minor score, but that could be a handy point.
Yep.
Just 6 points the margin. Only one drawn game in this, the 275th clash between these two teams. Is that taking the legs? We'll wait. Umpires allowing them to play. Can somebody extract the football? Bolton's on the scene, raising his arm. Somehow Black gets right boot to ball, but good intercepting mark. They've really turned it up. This is Declan Hardesty now. Brings the ball laterally in front of his own goalpost to Hamp. Hamp moves it further. That's a shocking decision, but it's going to turn out okay. They bring it out towards Mitchell. He's had a quiet second half. Gets closed down. Well done, Alexandre. He'll receive the hand pass now, but gets bumped off the football. And the ball tumbles out right in front of the Claremont Tigers interchange bench. As the crowd roars to life. Stepping off is Jared Hardesty to get some air into his lungs. He did have a bit of time spent on the physio's table on his lower body. He's had a good game. Bolton going nowhere.
One of my favourite traditions too, the Colts of the opposing team getting into it on the sidelines. Great tradition in West Australian sport.
Delaporte wins it down. Bolton held. Free kick. Had 10 disposals in the first term, 9 disposals in the second, 7 in the third term. In his milestone game. Rogers, bit of Gaelic football. The solo just kicked it back up to himself. Can he set up a goal scoring opportunity? Swinging around on the right boot, Smallwood. Across the face of goal. That was the clever feat from Rogers, just flicking the ball up off his toe. Spent a bit of time in the Republic of Ireland.
So West Perth are going to need to do something big here. Was a dangerous but worthwhile kick into the hands of Boyce. Trying to find Keitel. He slipped over. Bolton's going to get there first. Moves it safely out of trouble. Claremont happy to slow things down. Dylan Smallwood. His 8th disposal of the afternoon, and it's a turnover to Aaron Black.
This will be his 29th disposal, Luke.
West Perth moving numbers forward, it's Riddick.
He just needs a moment, Rudy. And we saw him with a turn of foot before. Unfortunately, couldn't snap one around his body. He's a very reliable kick. Don't want to put the mocker on him just yet, but this is an important kick.
3 straight last week. 13 goals for on the season. The 28-year-old originally from Swan Districts. He's 35 metres out. And pushes it to the right-hand side.
No, he doesn't.
It's gone through. West Perth right back in this one. I'm sorry, I thought the goal umpire had seen that go through the right-hand side.
Well, if you have a look at the CD replay, have a look at this for a ball drop. It does not come off his boot that cleanly. And he didn't like it off the boot until it just snuck home. The goal umpire danced a long way to her left, so that one has just snuck through, back to a 1-point game.
1 point the margin.
That was his 7th kick of the game, his 8th disposal, and none bigger than that.
(8:7:55). West Perth trail Claremont by a point. 8:56. We're back underway in the middle. Eastland went up for it. Ball getting pinged around the middle. West Perth with the clearance. What can they do here? One-on-one contest. Spills over the back. It's Rudy again. What can he do? Pushed off the ball by Hardesty. It trickles over the safety of the boundary line
I'll tell you what, Keegan Knott does a lot, obviously at ground level because he's not that tall in stature. He's a good mark overhead, but what he does at ground level, just patting the ball in front of Rudy Riddick there, a lot of things that go unnoticed. Fantastic small forward.
We're back underway. Claremont clear it out of there.
Oh,
Went over the back of the pack and it's going to be taken in by Hamilton. Hamilton, the kick inside 50. And cleverly...
is that high? No.
Cleverly taken out of bounds.
So getting up a little slowly was Thomas O'Donnell there because Bullock tried to use him as a step ladder. It was probably an unrealistic attempt at a mark, but the mark was paid in the end.
Paid to West Perth
but
anyway.
he took a long time getting up and no doubt will have a couple of sprig marks in his back.
Here we go again. 13 minutes gone in the fourth term. Claremont again clearing it out of trouble. And West Perth again with a great intercept mark. Tristan Hobley. Hobley looking for options. And the mark overhead.
The spring
is brought in by Keitel. Who else would you want for this kick?
I'll tell you what, not only is the spring most impressive thing about this mark, but he would be looking into the sun.
Yep.
And have a look at that, the shadow and the sun at the same time. That is not easy to do, and he made it look so simple. How big is this kick?
Almost none bigger.
Jai Bolton on the bench too, getting some treatment on his hamstring.
Off the boot of Keitel. It's through the middle.
No, it's not.
No. Just assume the opposite of what I say from here on out.
So Claremont look to bring it in. It's only error 404, Luke. You're fine. Ryan Lim takes the mark. Scores are knotted up. They look to move it on by hand towards the outer side. Floating hand pass. Offering his services was Edwards. They move it into the middle of the ground. Mitchell, clever hand pass. Here they go through the middle of the ground. They're inside 50. Bit of a stray kick. Allowed the spawn the football. Back into the hands now. Vacant square. Getting back, in fact. That's a big mark in the context. Tristan Hobley's had some good moments. So West Perth looking to waste no time at all. Davis, well done. Good composure. Found Kane Mitchell, seasoned veteran. They look to go. So he's in the shadows here. Maybe just outside his range. So starts his approach. Just two players standing in the goal square. Elects to just chip it in about 20 metres from home. Eastland somehow just plucked the ball. Would have capped off a superb game from him. Lim, can he keep that in? Brilliant stuff, Ryan Lim. That was superb. Managed to trap the footy. Links up with Mitchell from where he just had it. Brilliant smother. And a chance for West Perth to get out of jail. And good spoil on the football. They're begging for the deliberate, not paid. Well, that ball was in the air and a great decision from the umpire. How good was that from Ryan Lim? And then the desperation smother from the Falcons. 16 minutes have elapsed. We're halfway through the term. Delaporte from the back. Down to Hardesty on hands and knees. Black to Lim. Is that correct disposal? Good umpiring because one of the field umpires had his eyes in the sun and it was paid. So they're backing each other up well. West Perth, they just look to have a bit more run at this stage. Interesting kick. Back into the middle of the ground. Tracking that one now is beautifully done. That was Patmore. Links up with Manuel. Manuel lowers the eyes. Spears it inside 50. Ball couldn't take the mark. Kick around the corner was smothered. Hand pass chopped off. West Perth standing up on the last line of defence. That's an interesting kick. Barton, can he collect? He does. Gets put under pressure. Kicks back inside 50. No one at home. Chance to draw breath as the ball trickles over the line for a boundary throw-in. 8-8 apiece. Champion Autoglass scoreboard. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage courtesy of Front Row Screens. Matt Chetchins and Luke Worthington to bring you home. Claremont trying to keep their top spot alive. West Perth will solidify their spot in the top 4. They link up well. How many effective smothers have we seen today? It's been superb. Just at crucial moments, both teams have really risked shin and bone by laying themselves across the boot. So a stoppage out of side. Almost 18 minutes have played. The margin was just 1 point. We'll have another stoppage. Out of wing. Hard to pick a winner from here.
It is.
Oh, free kick.
I'd be leaning towards West Perth.
Going, yeah, it is. So here they go. What can they manufacture outer side of the ground? That's a good kick. Taking a risk and chipping one down the corridor on the stretch. Connell Lynch links up with hand to Pearce. That's a disappointing kick, and it falls well short of its intended target. The intercept mark taken by Tom Baldwin.
Baldwin moves it out to the far side. And the smother took the ball out of Hardesty's hands. Over the boundary.
Aaron Black, 30 disposals. Jai Bolton snapping at his heels with 29.
Hands go up. Ball to ground. West Perth moving it in, and the mark's taken by Keegan Knott. And can he put this one away? 1 goal straight for the day.
How good was that from Shane Nelson? That is almost a passage of the game where he just scooped it up, backed himself, lowered the eyes, and spots his prodigious small forward. This is a huge kick.
One of the premier small forwards in the comp, 25 goals, 7 on the season from a slide angle to put West Perth in front. Oh. He does it anyway.
Only just scraped it home for a minor score too.
West Perth hit the front after Keegan Knott's kick just sails to the right. Bolton trying to track it down, and
he's down, he's injured too. Let's hope he's okay.
And now West Perth moving it back in. They've got it.
That's out of bounds on the full. Jai Bolton, not
yeah.
a good sign. He was down after trying to take that one-handed mark. And he has been probably best on ground for Claremont. He's coming up off the ground in a bit of distress, so we hope that he's okay.
Put him at centre field for the Yankees, Bolton, after tracking that one down and taking the one-handed grab. Hopefully he's okay, and he really looks to be in a lot of pain under our broadcast position. That might be his afternoon. Unfortunate for the Tigers. West Perth 8-9-57. They lead Claremont 8-8-55. And have the ball at left half forward. Moving it in.
Oh,
Riddick takes the grab.
It sounds like the fans are booing, but they're just saying Rudy.
Rudy, yep. An absolute classic.
Well, he scraped one home before to get him back within touching distance.
A goal here would be crucial. Can the big man move them forward to 2 scores? Riddick from a slide angle. They like that one. They love it. West Perth moves 7 points in front.
Well, good signs for the Tigers is the fact that Jai Bolton is at the interchange gates. He's managed to get up on his own free will. He's got his hands above his shoulders after trying to take a one-arm mark. So we have a look, thanks to CD Dodd, the replay of Riddick's goal, but it looks as though he will be stepping back onto the field. And rightfully so. He's had 29 disposals. Black up to 31. He's had 12 tackles and 9 marks. Clearly best on ground as Jai Bolton literally steps through the interchange gates at the moment. Callan England makes way, so he's going to head towards half forward. He won't be going back onto the ball. In fact, he's straightening up now. Oh, that is a warning. So Bolton now steps into the square, so they got the maths wrong. Lim is coming to the square as well. He'll need to come back out to the wing. And pushing forward is Kane Mitchell. So they get away. In fact, they'd already been warned. So that's a free kick. Needless to give that one away. They try to get Bolton onto the ground, and they got the maths wrong. So 7 points the margin. Delaporte. Up towards Riddick. Good body work. Running out of room here, the Tigers. Hand pass to Hardesty. He's hemmed in. Riddick crashes his way through. Does brilliantly in the telephone booth. Plays the 1-2. Spins out of one. Is that correct disposal? Yes, said the umpire. So an interesting ball. Tumbling into the middle. Lim. Hacked off the ground by Lloyd. Up to Lynch. Slung in the tackle. Looking for Knott. And in fact, there's a sling tackle, and it's going to come back. The player was dumped, and that was Connell Lynch. So the umpire right on the scene, literally underneath his nostrils, and he's going to come back and award the free kick to Connell Lynch. As players start to flood to the right of screen. So Lynch going back with intent. He's got two options on his right shoulder. Instead, stops, props to the hot spot. Big fly, good intercepting mark. Jason Carter, literally on the last line of defence, moves it to the back pocket. 23.5 minutes have travelled, but it's the two kicks that might undo the Tigers. Lim. It's been pretty good in this final term. Kicks off a step, straight down the throat of Alexandre, but they play on. Somehow the ball's extracted. Nelson by left boot, hooks it back to the ball magnet in this term, and Lim. Another poor disposal from him. Can they get out of trouble? Not this time. Keegan Knott take a bow. And he's worn one around the rib cage. He came from nowhere to throw himself at that contest. He was not allowing the clearing kick to come. Literally risking his rib cage to dive across that. That was courageous. He looks to be in a bit of distress. He's making his way back to half forward. Tigers need to get something going, and quickly. Black, 30-second disposal for him. Out towards Knott, but it ends up in the arms of Keitel. So Knott still in a bit of distress at the moment. Keitel, this could almost slam the door shut on the Tigers, because goals to the left of screen have been at a premium this afternoon.
Yep.
So he'll kick after 25 minutes have elapsed. I've just been informed that Swan Districts have got up by a point this afternoon.
What a round of waffle footy.
Keitel to potentially put the ribbon and bow on a win across the face of goal. The Tigers still alive. 25.25 travel. Final term, thanks to Champion Auto Guys.
Ball bombed by Carter. Bolton wrapped up. Tries to bring it down one-handed. Falcons have the footy.
How did he kick that?
They move it out to the far side. Big smother by Davis. Play stopped.
Well, there's a free kick going the way of West Perth.
West Perth now moving it forward.
Carter.
Big fly over the top by Carter.
They've got to go.
They do need to move it fast, Matt. They do. Eastland has the footy. Punches it through the middle.
That's risky. What a mark.
A risky kick. He's turned over.
He's taken a few of those today, Dean Munns.
They didn't like that at all. But
Is that
Claremont,
50?
Oh, no.
Oh, that is an absolute killer. That is an absolute killer. I'm not sure we're impinged. Claremont just losing discipline now as Eastland comes in and dumps one of the West Perth players. So a bit of chaos at the moment. We don't want the game to end this way.
And what a shame. What a shame.
And Hardesty's been pushed away from the contest by his ruckman and Eastland. So if he's given that away, that seals the win.
And that's it, most likely for the Falcons. They move ahead by 3 scores. And every single one of them rushing down to congratulate.
Have a look.
him
He's,
on the goal.
he's bleeding. Is Dean Munns. So we're not going to speculate because it could have been when he was taking that gully catch in the middle of the ground. But he's taken a couple of good marks and had good composure today, and then caps that off with a goal. His first of the season. By the looks of it, it was like it was his first career goal because they came from everywhere. So he'll come off second man for the blood rule this afternoon for the Falcons after Pearce had to be stitched up in that first term, and you'd say that this is going to be a bridge too far now. 27 and a half minutes played.
10-10, 70 leads, 8-8, 56 on the champion auto glass scoreboard. Ball goes to ground. Lynn collects it. Two Falcons jump on top of it. Trying to move it out now, the Tigers. Wrapped up was Edwards. Ball being held in the pack, umpire's going to have it. And the West Perth faithful up in the members' stand.
Well, they've done what no other team has been able to do in the fourth quarter, and that's outscore Claremont.
And a free kick paid.
Well, Bolton gave it away, and they're just giving away needless ones now. So a lot out of frustration, obviously. It's been a heated game throughout.
Moving over 28.5 minutes in this one. Siren coming at any second. It has been a long quarter, so it may move into the 30s. West Perth happy to chip it around now and run the clock out. A fantastic performance today from the red and the blue. Got a good start. Managed to hold off the reigning runner-ups. Well, the current runner-ups. The current runner-ups for 2020. And like you said, Matt, do what no other team has managed to do this year in this competition and beat this giant of a team in the fourth quarter.
And tackle.
A great tackle there.
What this could be a season-defining moment for West Perth, because that's 3 on the trot now, and to beat the league leaders like this after trailing, albeit by a point at three-quarter time, is huge. And there it is. Congratulations to the West Perth Falcons. They have won the league contest today, round 12. It's been an arm wrestle. And they've got some sad, not sorry bodies. Jubilant as Munn's still got the ice pack over the eyes. Keegan Knott in one of the smothers, one of the best smothers you'll ever see. When the game was still up, and Claremont unable to close out the fourth term for the first time this season. Final score, 10-10, West Perth. 70 defeating Claremont 8-8. 56. That's 14-point margin. So Claremont, with a snap from Rogers in the fourth term, looked to be heading towards a victory before West Perth came storming back. Rudy Riddick, we said during the call, he only needs a couple of moments, and he stepped up at big times with 2 important set shots in a very spiteful game here at Provident Financial Oval. So Tyler Keitel, 3 goals, led the way for West Perth, all of those in the first term. And some of the umpires, unfortunately, copying a bit of treatment from some of the umpires. Rudy Rick finishing with 2, all in the last quarter. Mitchell Pearce, Thomas O'Donnell kicking 1. Dean Munns, his first goal of the season after copping one across the face. And Keegan Knott with a goal also. And we shouldn't forget Thomas Boyes, who kicked 1 in the third term. For Claremont, Bailey Rogers leading the way, a goal in the second, third and fourth quarter, but obviously not enough. Alexander Manuel had a pretty serviceable game, 2 goals for him. Bookended to the left of screen in the first and fourth quarters. Van Rooyen kicking a goal also. Isaac Barton and Jack Buller. Down on his season average, but managed to kick 1 today. So West Perth make it 3 on the trot. They avenged the round 5 loss earlier, and they put themselves now within touching distance of the top 3. South Fremantle, you would presume, going to close the deal against the Demons there at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. Aaron Black, superb, best on ground for me. He had 34 disposals, 12 tackles, 9 marks, 6 inside 50s. Shane Nelson was good. I want to praise Zach Gordon. He had 26 disposals and 8 marks. Made some excellent choices in the back half across fullback and also halfback. And Dean Munns took some handy marks today. None better than that almost game-winning mark in the middle of the ground where he then copped one and received a 50-metre penalty. He was superb as well. Tyler Keitel, well, he's on track for 12 goals because he kicked 3 in the opening term. But let's credit the Tigers' defence and their coaching staff because they put the handcuffs on him later in the game. He did have a few sights late in the game, but couldn't really impact the game. Jai Bolton, in game number 100 for him, he was still gallant in defeat. 29 disposals, 4 marks and 2 tackles, and generated a lot across the middle of the ground. Ended up with 6 inside 50s. And Oliver Eastland gave them first use of the football today. 38 hit-outs and 4 marks, along with 22 disposals. He is a fantastic player. And there it is. They're honouring a champion. Jai Bolton, 4-time Simpson medalist, 2-time Sandover medal winner. Originally coming out from Werribee, spent time with Collingwood Magpies, and I still scratch my head as to why he never played more AFL games, because he has been a superb player, and we're very fortunate to have someone of his ilk in the WAFL. But let's credit West Perth. How good were they?
Unreal. What a performance at home. What a performance in the context of their season. To move within touching distance of 3rd place would have been a little bit difficult with a couple of teams nipping at their heels if they had have remained on 20 points this round. So a character win, a win that now puts them at 4 out of 5 wins in their last 5, and 5 out of 6 as well in their last 6. So really one of the hotter teams in the league.
So Black, 34 disposals, 9 marks, 12 tackles, inside 50s. He registered 6. So surely he gets the Sandover votes today. Now, there's been some very tight finishes because this game was up for grabs right up until the last 3 or 4 minutes. And we'll have a look. Subiaco have lost 2 on the trot. Swan Districts have held on. 7-12-54, defeating Subiaco 8-5-53. So a bit of soul searching needs to be done by the team that's, fair to say, in the last 8 seasons been the absolute benchmark of this competition. And East Perth have run over Peel Thunder.
Nice.
Believe it or not. Congratulations to them. They trailed by 33 points at half-time and came storming home. They kicked 9 goals to 3 to run over and record another win. So well done to the Royals. South Fremantle, convincing winners. Perth almost fought back as such. 8-13-61 going down to 15-5. Goes to show in this competition the team that is better in front of goals will win the game, because more scoring shots for the Redlegs, but they run out with a loss there. And the West Coast Eagles reserves, as Luke Worthington, my trusted colleague, gives me a bit of a fist pump, 15-9-99 to 6-12-48. I think your league team will get rolled tonight. I think the Bulldogs might get up there. But congratulations to West Coast. They've gone 2 on the trot now. So it's good to see Swan Districts bounce back. But West Perth, you would have to say, with losses now 2 on the trot for Subiaco, Claremont losing to West Perth, and West Perth have won their last 3, along with South Fremantle, we've got genuinely, and I say this without any sarcasm at all, but we've genuinely got 4 teams that could probably, at this stage, maybe compete and lift the Premiership Cup.
Yep.
At the end of this season. So there's Tyler Keitel. That's probably the goal of the game, if you ask me. That set shot really stamped his authority on this game. 3 goals in the first term, thanks to CD Dodd. Thanks also, obviously, to Front Row Screens, to Champion Auto Glass as well, and to CD Dodd Scrap Metal Recyclers. Luke, thank you for your input throughout the afternoon. It's been an enjoyable game to call. I'm taking a bit of a hiatus over the next couple of weeks, so I look forward to being back in the commentary box in a couple of weeks, and maybe the season will change in those next couple of weeks. You would think so, because some big games coming up on the horizon. I can just run you through some of the round 13 fixtures. Claremont to take on Swan Districts at Revo Fitness Stadium. That's going to be a pearler. Peel will take on Subiaco. Peel somehow losing that game to East Perth at home against Subiaco. Have lost 2 on the trot. East Perth take on East Fremantle. That is genuinely, now with Jonathan Marsh out for a couple of weeks, unfortunately, a gettable game for the Royals. Perth taking on West Perth at Mineral Resources Park. Well, you'd say on form that West Perth could do that comfortably. And then South Fremantle taking on the West Coast Eagles reserve. So at this stage of the season, the Bulldogs building nicely, and the Falcons also, and Claremont and Subi need to do a bit of soul searching. Well, on behalf of Luke Worthington, also to Matt Williamson and Paul Persick in our production truck, our wonderful cameramen who have done a superb job throughout the afternoon, having a look at some of these highlights. This is Matt Chechen signing off. We've enjoyed your company, and we look forward to further games in the Optus WAFL season. We roll on to round 13 next week. Unlucky for some. We'll enjoy your company next week. Have a great weekend.